93 WIBC.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what happened at last night's City-County Council meeting in Indy. How firefighters ended up saving a woman in a creek on Monday. Police making an arrest in connection to a weekend shooting. And Fever head coach Stephanie White's status before tonight's home game. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
It's now 4 nights in a row in Los Angeles. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Those are fireworks being shot at law enforcement during the protests against illegal immigration raids.
And they've committed a whole rash of crimes, whether it's lighting Waymos on fire, shooting commercial-grade fireworks at police officers, not hurling insults at them, hurling actually cinder blocks and bricks at the police.
And L.A. County DA Nathan Hochman just told Fox those arrested will be prosecuted. But Fox's Jonathan Hunt reports from L.A.
Frankly, it is a lot less tense on the streets of downtown L.A. this morning than it was just 24 hours ago. That is not to say that there were not intense clashes once again last night throughout downtown L.A. Thousands of protesters were once again roaming the streets.
President Trump's deployed hundreds of Marines to protect federal buildings and another 2,000 National Guard troops. Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom is challenging that in court as illegal. L.A. Mayor Karen Bass says,
I feel like we are part of an experiment that we did not ask to be a part of.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says they have an obligation to defend federal law enforcement. Later this hour, Hegseth will testify at a House hearing.
It is expected to zero in on Homeland Defense, including the president's Golden Dome missile shield, the southern border, countering China in the Pacific, and boosting troop pay. Democrats are also likely to press Defense Secretary Hegseth on Signalgate and the deployment of troops to L.A.
Fox's Madeline Rivera. Later today, Hegseth will join President Trump at Fort Bragg in North Carolina to kick off celebrating the Army's 250th anniversary. A school shooting this morning in Austria has left 8 students and an adult dead.
After a rampage at a high school in the city of Graz, several others have been hospitalized. The attacker's connection to the school has not been confirmed, but one Austrian newspaper reports the suspect was a 22-year-old former student who carried a pistol and a shotgun.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. That gunman killed himself. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Speaking out before being removed. Sunny 63 in downtown Indy. Will be in the mid-70s for a high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. A wild scene at the City-County building in Indianapolis last night over the sexual harassment allegations and investigation against Mayor Joe Hogshead's former chief of staff, Thomas Cook. Lauren Roberts, one of those women who made those allegations, she was removed from the council meeting after this happened.
Exploiting us just as much as the Democrats to further your own agenda and accumulate power. Aside from the fact that this is exploiting us, I certainly do not put your hands on me.
Don't even do that. Don't even do that.
Council President Vop Osley, who had Roberts removed, made some comments afterwards.
I think the actions that we took from last summer, actually starting this investigative committee, working through it, making sure that our hands were removed from it, is indicative that we take this seriously.
A report from a Chicago law firm concluded that Hogshead's office acted within the law. Indianapolis firefighters putting their water rescue training to work Monday morning. Chris Davis has the story.
Here's what we've got. We do have one car in the creek, occupied one time. We've got her moving to the roof.
A woman in Indianapolis on the southeast side of the city spun out Monday morning after hydroplaning and ended up with her car in Pleasant Run Creek.
We're going to sawzall this fence down, bring me a straight ladder, but bring the boat.
Firefighters were able to get her coached out of the car and onto the roof and eventually pulled her to safety and her car out of the water. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A teenager is in custody in relation to a Sunday shooting at a Kroger along 16th Street just northeast of downtown. Police say they caught him with a gun and some marijuana. Thankfully, no one was injured. The statewide average for gas today, $2.99 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy. That's down a few cents from this time last week. The cheapest gas in the state is in Fort Wayne. In Indianapolis, it's $2.90. Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White back with the team after having to spend some time away for personal reasons.
It's helpful that we have such a great group that are pouring into me and helping give me strength. I've said it all along, we've got 3 head coaches on our staff, and so knowing that they continue to step up and do great things. It gives me comfort.
The Fever will face the Atlanta Dream tonight at home. Game time set for 7:30. And as the Pacers are getting ready to host their first NBA Finals game in 25 years on Wednesday, the city is holding a joint news conference with local and state leaders on public safety. Gainbridge Fieldhouse will be the site of games 3 and 4 tomorrow and Friday. Now with traffic, good morning to Matt Bear.
What's happening, Jarrett? Looking at the west side stall, the exit from southbound 465 to Sam Jones. The ramp is open. Northbound 65 on the south side. Pockets are slow from 465 to the south split because of construction. East side, northbound 465, stop and go after 70 up to Penn Pike. Traffic sponsored by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off and free UPS shipping and code radio and get an extra 5% off. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Summer is here and it's time to think about cleaning your carpets, but don't even think about renting one of those DIY units at the grocery store. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning. That's the perfect way to refresh your home. Vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet. And please don't do it yourself with DIY, dirt-attracting, carpet-soaking machines. With those machines, there's no possible way to extract all of that dirty water out of the carpet, and it'll probably leave a nice layer of mud under the carpet. At Zero Res, there's a reason they have 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. So just call Zero Res with their patented ZR water that cleans with no soaps, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off the air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
For today, mostly sunny but hazy. Canadian wildfire smoke will once again be in our region, mainly elevated away from the surface. High temperatures in the upper 70s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, Casey, it's going to be one of those days.
It is. It's already one of those days, Rob. Good morning.
Now, I had prepared to launch into a rant about the meeting I went to last night and how screwed all of us are when it comes to property taxes and how we were exactly right on how the schools and the local governments have already figured out ways around this stupid bill they came up with. But first, you know, Case, I'm the easiest guy in the world to work with. Very low key. It's like, Casey, you pick the topics, you do the template. I'll do everything in my power to work around whatever.
Malleable.
Right. You know, I got one rule though, which is my stuff.
Yes.
And I freely acknowledge it's a personal flaw. I got the OCD, I got the neuroticism, I got the issues. But my one rule, and every time we get a new worker that comes in here, new board guy, whatever, they know, like, Rob is very particular about his stuff. He needs his stuff to be in the same place, and it needs to work the same way, and I hear everything, and that's why, like, if people are in the room and they start talking,
or if the computer starts whirling,
even if it doesn't affect anything, like if it is screwing up my perception of how this environment has to work. And look, the results don't lie. We are overwhelmingly the #1 program during our time slot, not talk show, like, of all the radio stations from 9 to noon. We're like 1.5 times of the nearest competitor. It's not even close. And that's my one requirement. I don't need a life of luxury. I don't need...
Good, because you're not getting it.
You know, I don't need a 7-figure salary. I just simply need my stuff to be in the same spot every day. I need things to be put back they were when you found them. And I need things to work. Like, that is my... And thus far, this show this morning, none of those things are happening.
None of those things are happening.
None of the things that we need to successfully... Okay, so the computers are out.
Yeah.
Carl, who is the hardest working man in the building, sent an urgent 911 message to various people. Thus far, from the one person he's heard back is just, well, we wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors. Have fun.
Good luck with that
so
high-purpose,
now
so well-befitting manhood.
I don't have a computer. I'm on a different microphone than I normally am. I'm totally out of kilter. So if you think it's normally bad, get ready, Bal, because now all the things that trigger me to be off the rails, Rob, are in full effect right now.
Right.
Okay.
We're really going to go off the deep end today. Here's the question. Has anybody tried to unplug the Kendall and Casey show, count to 10, and plug us back in?
Well, and I think people think it's like some big operation here. I don't think people, if they saw like what we're dealing with right now and the ratings we still produce, they should construct a statue in front of 40 Monument Circle for us because of the things that we're able to pull off and do every day despite the fact.
Where is that Sagamore the Wabash Award anyway?
All right, so let's get to it, shall we? So I was on a walk last night. Me and the ankle biter and the wife were on a walk, and I saw like a flood of people at the school administration building in Brown Street. I thought, oh, there must be a school board meeting. I thought, well, there must be something going on at this meeting that is requiring a bunch of people to be there. Because, as Braun and Micah have said, it's all my job now. Investigating Diego, my job. Investigating Bo Hotchick, my job.
That's right.
Investigating Bo Baird, my job. Holding the county council accountable, my job. Town council, my job. School board, my job. What their job is, don't know. But it's all my job now.
That's true. That's what you've been told.
And so I was slipping a little bit in the midst of trying to investigate highly unethical behavior from our Secretary of State, potential mass government, public corruption, potentially. You got the DUI guys and trying to put all that together, the hours it takes to, I did let it slip that I did not realize there was a school board meeting, and I'm sure I will be lectured because I didn't hold them accountable. And so I rush home, I get home and get done doing my stuff, and I pull the meeting up, and I see on the agenda it says projects 2028 to 2032.
Projects?
Okay. 2028 to 2032. And I said to myself, because this brain case, how this brain works. It's just this massive file cabinet. It's this massive endless supply of ability to consume life experiences and information and then relay them to the public. I said, I guarantee you they are getting this out now because new laws take effect July 1st. And whatever thing that they want to do won't be able to be done July 1st. And because these idiots who run this state have created a monstrosity of a property tax law that is so convoluted and complex that the school systems and the local governments are going to spend most of their time figuring out ways around it instead of compliance in it or the premise of it, that's exactly what this is. And they give the presentation of the projects, and it's very obvious they have to get this stuff on the books before July 1st.
They have 20 days.
Or they got to play by the new rules. So what you learned last night, and I don't even blame them. It's not even their fault. You have to know that the people who don't see things the way that you claim to see it, which, of course, the lawmakers don't see it this way either. They don't care about your property taxes. They don't care if you afford to live in your home. They don't care at all. They just want you off of their plate and out of their life. These schools, these local governments, they do not believe that the problem is that they're getting too much of your money. They don't think they're getting enough of your money. So if they don't see the problem as being that they're getting too much of your money, you can't blame them for trying to figure out new ways to ensure they still get the same amount of your money. Now, in the case of Brownsburg, at least with them, unlike other school corporations, they are still publicly saying our goal is to stay out of the referendum game. At least they're saying that. We give them credit for that.
Well, they know you live in town.
Well, that's right. They just don't want to deal with me.
They're not going to risk it.
Don't think they maybe don't want to do it. They just don't want to deal with me. But in this meeting, so they do these projects. They talk, they got to get this on the books. They basically admit this, and they're very transparent about it, by the way. Got to give them credit. They're very honest about what they're doing. I don't blame them if your worldview is what theirs is. But they also had this presentation, these financial guys, I just call them financial guys, to help them understand the now understood impacts of Senate Bill 1.
So they paid somebody to come in.
Yes, because the bill is 368 pages, and no one other than Thompson, who wrote the bill, understands the bill. Kerry Hamilton, state rep, told us maybe 10% of the General Assembly even read the bill. That would be 15 people. And so the school had to take your money as a taxpayer, pay some person
to explain it to them.
And so they're going through this presentation last night. And what you realize is, once again on full display, and again, I do not blame the schools. I blame the lawmakers, because if you know how someone's going to operate, and then you set up a system that will still allow them in some capacity just through a different mechanism, it's just like taking a different route to go across the country. You can't be mad if they operate in the way in which you know they're going to operate. So what I mean by that is, they do not believe, at no point during this presentation was there like, how do we work with less money? The presentation
you silly
was about how we get the same amount of money in the new system.
Right.
And who's going to get screwed? Now, they didn't use that word, but I'm, of course, watching this going, okay, when the musical chairs stop, who's going to pay the most when this is all said and done? And at no point were they like, okay, there's a clear message from the voters. There's a clear message from the taxpayers. We got to figure out how we're going to do less with blah, 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 blah. Here's the goals. Here's the cuts. Here's what we're going to make. I mean, they're talking about at the end of this meeting, potentially $196 million of bonding by 2032. It's not like we're talking about more with less. They're just talking about new ways that they can get the same amount of money.
They can get the money. So they want the same amount of money. They've said they're going to try and do it without a referendum. So their answer is to tax you more?
Well, and it's again, because everything's convoluted and I couldn't even do it in 3 hours, much less in the minute or so we have left here. It's going to involve tax rates and things of that nature, which means you're not going to see savings. You're not, which is exactly what I said. How long have we been saying this? And they said it last night.
Yeah.
They ain't going for less. They're going for the same amount.
Right.
They're just going to go at it a different way.
They just got to get the money differently.
Is exactly what I told Braun was going to happen. It's exactly what I told everybody who was going to listen to happen. And they said, that's not going to happen. We're rigging the system so they can't do that. They said last night they're going to do it, and they laid out exactly how they're going to do it. Now, it'll still be at the 1% cap if they follow the methodology they laid out, which means your property taxes won't go up technically, because they kept saying, we're not asking for any more dollars. That was the word they kept using, which meant those words were by design. We're not asking for any more dollars. Over and over, that's a very weird way to say that. So what they meant was, we're not going to take any less. You should applaud us for that. But the premise of the whole property tax conversation case, and I'm rolling now because I'm in the wrong spot. My computer doesn't work. I'm pissed off anyway. I'm rolling. I know we're running long, Nathan. Just stay with me. The premise of the property tax bill was supposed to be for you to pay less.
Correct.
It wasn't the same amount. It wasn't new ways to pay the same. It was there is too much money being taken from us. The past 4 or 5 years has been absolutely ridiculous. We should be paying less in property taxes. And this bill they came up with, not only does it mean you'll not be paying less in property taxes, as has been laid out not just by Brownsburg, but other school systems, right? We've already seen these others rush for referendums or whatever. At least they're not doing that. Pat Brownsburg on the back. They're not going for a referendum.
Ooh, boy.
That's the new standard.
Congratulations.
Are you screwing me inside of the tax cap system set forth? That is the new standard for excellence when it comes to public school financing. However, there's going to be no savings. You're going to end up paying the same or more based on the way, and all these schools are going to do this. It's not them. It's everybody's going to do this. And towns are going to do it. And fire territories are going to do it. And then on top of that, now you're going to have new local income taxes you're going to be paying, which everybody's going to be paying more, which is exactly what I said is going to happen. But Braun and Bobblehead Beckwith and Houston and Bray and all these people with a straight face, they'll tell you how hard they work. And Thompson and all these guys, they'll tell you what a great job they did, how they're reining in the local governments. They aren't reining in anyone.
Take a breath.
I feel better now. Is my computer working yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, get ready because we got 3 hours of this then.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
In Oklahoma City, game 2. Oklahoma City still leads by 17 points.
I just got to figure out how to be better.
The Pacers are down by 19.
I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter.
The Pacers are down by 21 points.
We just played poorly. You can't be a team that's reactive.
The lead is back up to 22.
They never really were close.
The NBA Finals return home to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers Thunder. Coverage of Game 3 starts Wednesday night at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
professionalism and being ready at a moment's notice. That's what we stand for at Fire Dogs Junk Removal, because we were founded by firefighters. When it's time to clear out clutter, big or small, we've got you covered. From old furniture to hot tubs and even entire decks, our team handles it all. Call Fire Dogs Junk Removal today at 1-800-211-DOG or book online at firedogs.com. Fire Dogs Junk Removal, your local team ready to answer the call.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP $105,195. Nautilus MSRP $60,195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software. Upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
In 6/22/25, new customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at lifelock.com. Terms apply.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see the full line of Kubota or visit McAllisterKubota.com.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining and distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
I guess. Kidding. Okay, whoa. 10,000 things going on here. Okay, so we're back to normal. Carl and Scotty
Whatever
came in.
normal is.
Scotty Johnson, the longtime producer for the Colts, he is one of the longest tenured employees in this building, came in. He was crawling around on the ground. I don't know what he was doing. Carl, Tony's producer, who is the hardest working person at this radio station, also crawling around on the ground. They identified there was something in a power strip. Oh, thank you. And now Nathan's realizing that the camera was still on the old seat that I was in. This is, yes, thank you. This is a highly professional operation we're running here. And that there was something with some sort of power access that was broken. So these guys, I guess, now are also the engineers.
Correct.
And we're able to fix it. And now, in front of the tens of thousands of people that are listening to this program at any given time, we're back into our normal positions. And I feel a little bit more at ease, and perhaps we'll be able to continue this program in a calmer, more organized
You feel
fashion.
like things are getting normal again?
Now, I got some message here that somebody just sent me from the Avon school superintendent.
Oh.
And I don't know. I think this has something to do with the referendum. I think maybe they're going for another referendum, which piles onto the segment we just did.
Right.
I got to listen to the end of this. But first, before we do that, so we may have another property tax rant coming up here in just a second.
Okay.
But first, that Indianapolis City County Council meeting last night was insane, and those people should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, it went, well, you know what? They had a 2-minute time for people to speak, public comment, and Lauren Roberts was there, and she did not even get 20 seconds in before they started interrupting her.
So Lauren Roberts is one of the accusers against Thomas Carl Cook, the scumbag dirtball. I think he was former deputy mayor, Hogsett's right-hand man, architect of campaign victories, et cetera, Thomas Carl Cook. And he was accused in articles in Mirror Indy Star, detailed allegations by women of, I don't know what you want to call it, sexual harassment. I don't know if abuse is the right word. He was essentially using his position in city government to force these women into sexually uncomfortable positions. They being the city county council, wasted $500,000 on an investigation. It came back exactly what everybody knew. Hogsett's a scumbag. Cook is a scumbag. But by the legal letter of the law, no laws they could found were broken. Now, it then comes out in a follow-up investigation with Indy Star that a bunch of messages in this investigation that the taxpayers paid $500,000 for were
excluded.
Excluded from
the report,
which it shows Hogsett. Look, I've seen enough guys drunk text in the evening to ex-lovers or whatever, or people they want to be lovers. Hogsett clearly was drunk texting these women, and ain't nobody going to convince me otherwise. And if Joe'd like to have a conversation about it, I'm happy to hear it. This is
please come in
to these subordinates. Totally inappropriate, thirsty behavior, begging them to respond to him. Hello, it's 9:30. I mean, it's just utterly no sober man, especially in a position of power to which Joe Hogsett had elevated himself to, would be texting subordinates if they had their wits about them in this fashion. It's totally inappropriate.
Calling your subordinate feisty, saying that she's going to need your approval before she gets into a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
Saying Happy Valentine's Day. Hello, answer me. I mean, this is somebody who's very, very needy.
So Lauren Roberts is probably the most vocal and public of the Hogsett or the Cook accusers. She's the one who put the Substack post out after the report came out. It was like a 50-page report, and the biggest thing in there was sort of buried, but it was or not buried, but didn't get the attention it deserved. She's the first person who was in Hogsett's orbit to publicly come out and say the guy has a serious drinking problem, and she has been basically ignored. And she went to the council meeting last night to try to speak. Now, they were trying to say, they being the city council, were trying to say she was not speaking to the agenda, which she clearly was, because the money being spent was related, the thing she was talking about was related to money being spent on this report. And Casey, I don't know how much of this audio we can play or have, but the meeting delved into absolute chaos. Vop Asali, who is, what is he, the council president? I think that, anyway, he tries to cut her off. She then keeps talking. Her 2 minutes expire. Instead of just letting her go and letting her finish, they sick these deputy sheriffs on her, and she's got all these people behind her, like her supporters who came. They are physically removing her and them from the meeting. As someone who has been physically removed by the police from a meeting for simply asking how something gets on the agenda, then being told by the cops, hey, go back in there. Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong. This was disgusting behavior. We have audio of this, do we? Okay, here we go.
Meanwhile, the Republicans, members of this council, continue to use survivors and our story as a political football, exploiting us just as much as the Democrats to further their own agenda and accumulate power. Aside from the fact that this is exploiting us, I firmly do not think let us speak. Let us speak. Let us speak. Shame
pushing the people and everybody out. I mean, she had like an army of people there with her, and they removed basically all of them. These people should be ashamed of themselves. Just let her go. Just let her say her piece.
Right, and then be done. Move on. They made it worse.
She has clearly had some level of trauma, and whether everything she has said about Thomas Carl Cook or Joe Hogsett is accurate, I don't know. But you've now just made it infinitely worse. Now, she provides very clear details in this in the Substack report of the altercations with them and all of this stuff. But now you've just made it a million times worse. If you just let her keep going for another 2 or 3 minutes, what difference does it make? You have discretion on that. And to cut her off and then throw those people out like that, there is just zero judgment from these people. And it shows you, think about, if they're that poor judgment on that, think of the judgment they have on issues that affect the entire city.
Yeah, so we've got Josh Bane who's going to join us at 10 o'clock. And I'm going to ask him, though, because nobody has called for Hogsett's resignation. They've walked right up to the line, but they've never quite said it. And I want to know why.
All right.
So I'm going to ask him.
All right, let's take a break. I'm going to listen to this Avon superintendent's announcement that somebody sent me that sounds like that's just going to make me blow a gasket. Maybe we'll scream about that when we come back. This property tax law is so broken. It's so stupid. It's so convoluted. And we told these people this. We told them this. I begged the governor not to do this because this crap that I think we're about to talk about, the stuff I talked about that happened in that meeting in Brownsburg last night, it's going to happen. And Braun and all these people should be ashamed of that. Go to break before I say something I'm going to regret.
The news is up next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
There's something timeless about radio. It's where stories are told, ideas are shared, and communities stay connected. Our generation grew up with it, and we still believe in the power of tuning in. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe planning for retirement should feel just as familiar and trusted. That's why we're bringing real conversations and practical advice to the airwaves. Join us every Sunday at 9 p.m. for our Retire with Purpose Radio Hour, right here on 93.1 WIBC. We'll talk about what really matters in retirement, income you can count on, choices you can feel good about, and a future that reflects your values. Because some things, like good planning and good radio, never go out of style. Howard Bailey Financial, retirement planning that speaks your language. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com. The Retire with Purpose Radio Hour is a paid placement on each airing station.
It's now open. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, right in front of Premier Arms on Green Street. You got to see the selection. Newly expanded, the gold, the diamonds, the silver, the gemstones, the local artists, and of course, that watch collection. Guys, you got to trust me on this one right here. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg, 317-456-4010. That's 456-4010. Or find them online at pajewelers.jewelry. That's pajewelers.jewelry.
For the first time in 25 years, your Pacers are in the finals.
4 seconds to go. Halliburton for three. Three ball. Indiana by 1. 1 and 1/10 seconds to go.
You have got to be kidding me.
Catch the blue and gold and Thunder for Game 3 Wednesday at 8:30. Score your tickets at Pacers.com/finals. Pacers, Thunder, Game 3 Wednesday. Pacers Finals presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Here's a harsh fact. 40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Chaos continuing in L.A. Sunny, 65 on Monument Circle, 77 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. President Trump is ordering for another 2,000 National Guard service members and 700 Marines to Los Angeles as anti-ICE protests continue.
That announcement on Monday now brings the total number of military personnel who have been mobilized to respond to L.A. to more than 4,000. California Governor Gavin Newsom saying on X, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is illegally deploying the Marines so that the president can have a talking point at his military parade this weekend. Newsom called the move a blatant abuse of power, saying California will sue. Newsom has already sued against the federalization of the first 2,000 National Guard troops.
Fox's Madeline Rivera reporting. The Senate is preparing to do a rewrite of President Trump's big, beautiful budget bill this week ahead of House Speaker Mike Johnson's deadline of getting it signed into law by the 4th of July. Some Republican senators have expressed concerns over the legislation because they want more spending cuts. Others are concerned about how it slashes Medicaid, food stamps, and other support programs. Time for your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by the Absolute Wealth Management. The Dow is up 3 points, 42,761. S&P 500 also slightly up to 6,000. The NASDAQ in the green, 21,000 points to 21,797. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and at WIBC.com.
Indiana summer storms are rolling in, and if you're like me, you're not climbing up on your roof to check for damage. That's why you call Moss Roofing. Family owned. Right here in central Indiana for over 30 years, Moss Roofing gives you something hard to find these days: honest work and peace of mind. They offer free inspections, and I mean a real thorough checkup of your roof, your siding, your gutters, and your windows. If there's storm damage, they'll show you the photos, explain everything clearly and thoroughly, and even work with your insurance company for you. No stress, no pressure, just real professionals doing the job right every single time. Protect your home and avoid bigger problems later. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Family owned, Moss Roofing. 747-3665 or online at Moss. M-O-S-S. MossRoofing.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
I told you.
It is 9:37.
I told you.
On June 10th.
I can't.
Rob Kendall's right.
I can't even, it's so obvious. And there's no, at this point, there is no way you're going to convince me that the state of Indiana enacted this new property tax law, and the goal of it wasn't to make you pay out the ass at as many levels as possible like never before. There's no way you're going to convince me that these people, while they are some of the dumbest people alive, that they could have been this stupid to not see exactly what was going to happen.
Schools are still going to get their money, just a different way.
So we opened the shows talking about this meeting last night with the Brownsburg school system, and I watched the meeting online, and how they were laying out how they're going to get the same amount, or their goal is to get the same amount of money from you despite the new property tax system. And I said, because I'm very fair, Casey, if nothing, I am one of the fairest people you have ever met. I said, let's give these guys credit, because at least they're trying to do it without a referendum, which will raise people's taxes, because I guarantee a bunch of these other dirtball school corporations are going to go for the referendums, which is exactly what I told Braun. Exactly what I told Braun when I sat as close as you and I are, even closer than that. I looked right at him and I said, you are opening Pandora's box on a massive flood of tax increases. The problem at the time was I was operating from the altruistic standpoint that if I can just reach Braun, he doesn't know this, and if I can just convince him, and it's like, then you realize they knew. And so now, not only are we seeing a flood of school systems who are figuring out ways around the law, But even worse, there are others who are rushing to beat the law because of the change in referendum laws, because these schools do not view the issue that they're getting too much of your money. In fact, they view it the exact opposite. You aren't paying enough. You listen to them, they will say it. And so I don't blame them for this. I blame the legislators. I blame Braun. I blame Bobblehead Beckwith. I blame Houston. I blame Bray. I blame the General Assembly, who, if you are going to hand a person who is addicted to crack, if you point at them and go, there's a bunch of crack over there, go get it, you can't be mad at them if they go get it. That's what they do. You have to be the adult. You have to step in. You have to cut the head off the snake. And if you're not going to do it, they will find every way possible to get as much money as they possibly can.
So if they're not growing, they're dying. And you were told that the governor would go help you beat referendums. He said he would knock on doors, but that's not even the issue now.
He's going to have a very busy fall, Casey, because we know of one in Fort Wayne. Yes, Braun looked right at me and said, I will go knock on doors, as did Micah. So those two guys are going to be super busy this fall because we know of one in Fort Wayne. And this is what I said. I said, you are going to open a floodgate because new laws do not take effect until July 1st. These schools will figure it out that they can do whatever they want to do under the old law. And as long as they get it on the books under the old law, nothing is going to change. Oh, and they're going to run for these referendums now pre-July 1 because they can still do them. One of the changes in the property tax law, and I told them, I said, you got to get rid of the referendums. You got to cut them off. 1% is 1%. The cap is the cap. Either we have a cap or we don't. Well, we're making changes to the law. We're changing it to where they can only have referendums in even years. So more people show up to vote. Because one of the things these schools have done in the past is they've recognized nobody votes in primaries and nobody votes in odd year elections unless there's Congress, president, whatever. So they've been doing these referendums in odd year elections in the primaries.
Right, because they can push all of the people that are for it right there to the polls.
Their people will always show up to vote. They know you are going to have a hard time getting people to show up against. And so, obviously, we have passed the primary season, so they can't hold one in a primary season. But as long as, just like we saw in Fort Wayne, who's doing a referendum this fall, as long as they get it on the books by July 1st, they can still do referendums this fall, which means there are no elections other than their special election, which they'll pay for and put on the ballot because they don't give a crap about your money. And so like the best case scenario, and this is what I told these guys, the radio guy should not be the only person who can figure this out, Casey. Now, granted, I have more experience in local government than most people, but this should be have been so obvious. There's no way they didn't know this was going to happen.
I'm so confused because I thought Scott Baldwin said you didn't know anything about property
This is
taxes.
correct. All right. Okay. So here is the clip. Now, producer Nathan, you understand technology. So somebody sent me this clip of the Avon superintendent giving a message to the community that I'm about to play part of for you. And I saw it. I was looking at it. I'm trying to send it to Nathan. I'm going on YouTube. I can't find the link on YouTube, and you told me, what is it?
It's unlisted.
What does that mean?
You can't search it, but if you have the link, you can watch it.
Which means there's no way they accidentally did that.
Yeah.
That means what you were saying with this, that is so that specific people will get the link, right?
Exactly, because you were trying to search it on YouTube, you couldn't find it. So someone can't just go search, okay, Avon, so-and-so,
right.
Can't find it.
Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I was like, why is this not pulling up? I'm looking at this thing. And so apparently they have made this thing private, unlisted, whatever it's called, so that only the people like me can't get it. But of course, we got 50,000 people listening every day. Somebody's going to give this to me. Right. Listen to what he's saying in this message of how they are going for a referendum. They're going for it in the fall. And listen to the dates he's throwing out of when their little workshop is going to be. Today is June the 10th.
Correct.
So in 1 week, they're going to have workshops. They're going to throw all this together in 1 week. Okay. Just conveniently.
Before July 1st.
Before July 1st. Listen to this.
However, our state lawmakers removed the ability for schools to pursue referendums in May. At last night's school board meeting, we discussed the pros and the cons of a November 2025 and a November 2026 referendum renewal, and we'd like your input too. We plan to hold 2 identical community input meetings on Monday, June 16th and Wednesday, June 18th at 6:30 p.m. at the Middle School South Auditorium to discuss these options. We've also prepared a community survey to gather input. The link to that survey is in this message, and it's also on the homepage of our website. That survey will be open until the end of the day on Wednesday, June 18th. Indiana public schools continue to find ourselves in challenging situations as we seek to serve all students in our community. We have found that it's practically impossible for schools to engage in any long-range financial planning when our state's elected officials change the rules constantly. However, our mission in Avon is all belong, learn, and grow.
Okay. So, in a week, you have no information. How would you know any of this is taking place?
Well, because that went directly to the school directory.
Now, some guy said they sent it through some Power School app, which means it went to the parents, it went to the people that they want.
The school
if you wanted the
directory.
public, it would be public on YouTube. And in a week, you're supposed to believe in a week that you're going to be able to formulate an opinion, a valid opinion, on whether the first referendum, which they have one right now, has worked, what you're getting for your money. You're supposed to be able to do the research, look through the documents. Get out of here. Get out of here. I mean, this is disgusting that Avon is doing this. It's gross. They should be ashamed of themselves. But you can't blame them if you're giving, if you tell a bank robber, here's the code to the vault, go on in. Are you going to? Yes, he's technically robbing the bank, but you gave him all the tools to be able to do it. Oh, and then on top of that, you're going to get the income tax increase, which is going to happen. So all of these supposed savings from property taxes are going to be completely wiped out.
$300.
And now we've reached the point where they've created a law that's so bad, the good guys in the equation are going to be like the guys in Brownsburg who are like, well, we'll just probably keep you at that 1%. You're not going to get any savings, but it's better than your taxes going up.
Yeah. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It is 93 WIBC.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel show, what happened in Los Angeles last night? More riots against ICE. And were there any more calls for Mayor Hogsett's resignation? All the fun starts at 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
When you golf in Missouri, the courses are so close, you'll spend more time on the fairway than the freeway. After the back nine, enjoy world-class dining in distilleries, shops, spas, museums, and more. Find your new golf MO at visitmo.com.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried. You need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Luke and Emma in Franklin had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We found the perfect piece of land and began building our new dream home, but we needed to sell our old place at the right price to fund the dream. We hired the Mark Dietl team and got multiple offers in the first weekend, closed in 25 days, and they negotiated for us to stay while we completed our new place. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Dietl. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. It's Mark, DIETEL.com.
Busy day? No problem. The WIBC Mashup podcast catches you up with standout moments from your favorite shows. Fresh episodes every weekday. One click, all the good stuff. Get your daily fix. Search WIBC Mashup wherever you get your podcasts.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $434 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
Can't touch this.
That can't be right.
What?
Can't touch this.
Whitmer, our buddy Stephen Whitmer, the Indy Reporter guy, says in the YouTube chat, the Avon School Superintendent gets paid $276,190.
Wow. That's well above the average in Indiana.
And so, of course, last segment we played the clip of him saying Avon Schools is totally broke and they can't possibly survive if you get any property tax relief. So not only are you going to continue to pay out the ass, they're going to do another school referendum to make you pay, which is what I told Braun and Bobblehead Beckwith and all those other guys was going to happen if they passed this law. And of course, they told me, no, we know better. And now it's all now it's all happening. So Micah and Braun are going to have a busy fall knocking on all these doors. Yeah, because they promised they were going to knock on all the doors with the school referendums.
That's what they were going to do. So the median yearly income in the United States about $81,000. So that superintendent in Avon is well above that.
Yeah, if that's right, I mean all these superintendents in these Central Indiana school district superintendents, almost all of them are making $200K plus benefits, car, phone, blah blah blah, and they've got assistant superintendents, all these administrators. And it's like you cannot blame them. You cannot blame somebody for being what they've always been. If you're not going to step in and stop it, then the blame is on you. If you have a relative that is buying drugs, if you give them money and you give them money, then you're facilitating that. Spending addictions, whatever. If you know somebody's doing something and you don't step in and stop it, they will always find. Ryan Hedrick has talked about this. Matt Bear has talked about this. Right. They've talked about when they were addicted to various things, and they've talked about this on their Supporting Sobriety podcast. That is what they lived for. You cannot blame the Avon school superintendent for believing he's entitled to as much of your money as he can get and believing he's entitled to this lofty paycheck, whatever the number might be, and all the benefits, because they don't have the decency gene where you step in and go, yeah, that's kind of excessive. Maybe we can do more with less. They believe they are entitled to as much of your money as they want. And they believe they can strong arm these uninformed mommies, these suburban mommies, into the little junior's going to suffer if they got to be accountable.
I'm curious, at the Brownsburg meeting last night, did they give you any indication about what the school projects were for?
Yeah, there's a list, and they did say, and again, compared to like Avon, Brownsburg's turned into an A+ school district, right? Compared to when you hear the crap that we just heard out of the Avon superintendent. And they laid it out, and they said, we're probably not going to do all these projects. They said, we don't know, but we have to do this now and put this on the list now because otherwise we're going to play by the new rules. So why would you blame them? It's not their fault. And they were they were super transparent. They weren't doing some closed door link like Avon that the public can't see. They put it out there and said, here's what we're doing. And again, we've enacted a system now that's so bad that I feel pretty fortunate that I live in a place that, at least for the foreseeable future, it looks like, will just stay at the ridiculous tax cap with the high assessments. That's the system the smartest guy in the State House, Jeff Thompson's, put in place. That's the system that Mike Braun has signed off onto, which comes back to those well-meaning people that are meeting with Braun thinking he's going to fix something. Look at how he just broke it further than it was already broken. Why would you think he's going to fix anything?
Had the chance.
You know, you need to listen to us. We're the ones who are right. We're the ones who will tell you how it is. We're the ones who always stand up and own it. You need to listen to us. Stop listening to these politicians. They are to blame.
So where Americans earn the most and the least, where do you think Indiana ranks on that list? If you take all 50 states, where is Indiana?
I say we're in the lower 20. Is that right?
We're at number 33.
So that's
overall.
lower 20. So what is that? That's yeah. I mean, obviously there are 17 states or whatever earn less than us.
So the median yearly income in the United States about $81,000. Here in Indiana, it is $66,900.
What is it?
$66,900.
That's the median, the average?
State's median income.
Is that for a family or is that for an individual?
That's individual.
So if you put that together, a family of four, the average is, what is that? 135-ish? Okay. That sounds like a lot of money, but clearly it's, well, I mean, I guess not for a family of four. It wouldn't be. I mean, you got two kids running around. We've talked about this. Yeah. That's, but I thought we were a state that works. I thought we were a state that, I mean, all the businesses were coming here. I thought we were the state where all the people, like all the great jobs, all the money, we're just on the right track. What happened? It does
suggest that paychecks here in Indiana are fairly modest across the board, especially when you compare to the rest of the country. We've got room for growth, Bob. Room to improve. So let's see. The states where people make the highest, Virginia, number one. You know who lives there in Virginia?
All the Washington, D.C. people.
There it is.
Yeah, right? All the people in the federal government.
Politicians.
Absolutely. They don't actually live in Washington, D.C. They live in a very secluded Virginia neighborhood.
And then it goes on to New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Washington, Utah, Minnesota, Colorado, Illinois, and then Massachusetts as the top earners.
All right, so we'll take a break. When we come back, Josh Bane from the Indianapolis City County Council is going to join us. We'll talk about that wild city council meeting last night, which Lauren Roberts and the people there
was removed.
Yes, and then we'll talk about the demands the Republicans and the city council have in regards to this investigation. They want more information. Wild show so far.
Yeah, he's on the way next on 93 WIBC.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP $105,195. Nautilus MSRP $60,195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details. details.
Hey, Wings Etc. fans, guess what? June 9th through 15th is Wings Schooner Madness. We're rolling back prices on award-winning wings and big ice cold schooners to just 59 cents for wings and $5 for domestic schooners. Dine in only. Mark your calendars for June 9th through 15th and get great deals on wings and domestic schooners when you dine in for Wings Schooner Madness. June 9th through 15th, only at your local Wings Etc. Wings Etc. Grill and Pub with 15 Central Indiana locations. Online at wingsetc.com.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
In 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what was said at last night's City-County Council meeting, and the city is laying out its public safety plan ahead of the NBA Finals. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
Democrats don't like it. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The president's decision to call the National Guard troops to Los Angeles was premature, and the decision to deploy active duty Marines as well is downright escalatory.
Congresswoman Betty McCollum just said that about the handling of the protests in L.A. to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a House hearing that just started. He has not responded yet while making his opening statement, but Hegseth earlier had said that deployments to deal with the protesters is an obligation to protect law enforcement, and we've just learned that the Marines that'll be sent there are still doing training at Seal Beach before they arrive. This after a fourth day of demonstrations, angry over illegal immigration raids. But this morning, Fox's Jonathan Hunt reports from downtown L.A. He's seeing only a few guard troops securing a building he's in front of.
Yesterday, there was a line of them across the street, roadblocks at every corner staged by the LAPD. Not so today. And that might be a sign that they feel that the protests are to some extent. Having said that, there was a lot of violence once again on the streets of LA last night, but law enforcement across the board, federal and local, seem to have a much better handle on how to keep it under control.
That hearing, by the way, with Defense Secretary Hegseth, a lot of it is going to focus on the military's budget. 3 days of mourning declared in Austria.
Austria's Chancellor Christian Stocker is calling it a national tragedy. Multiple students, at least one adult, and the suspected gunman dead after a rampage at a high school in the city of Graz. Several others have been hospitalized.
That's Fox's Jonathan Savage. It's believed 10 people in all are dead, including that gunman, a 21-year-old who had 2 guns and shot himself. In France, a 14-year-old student pulled out a knife during a bag security check this morning at a middle school and stabbed and killed an employee. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
City-County Council chaos. Sunny, 67 on Monument Circle. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Things getting heated at an Indianapolis council meeting. Ryan Hedrick explains why.
Users like Joe Hogsett.
You are now done.
Meanwhile, the Republican member, I am
you
not
are done. Yes,
Meanwhile, the Republican.
That is Lauren Roberts. She is one of several staffers who have accused Mayor Joe Hogsett's former chief of staff, Thomas Cook, of sexual harassment.
Exploiting us just as much as the Democrats to further your own agenda and accumulate power. Aside
that was at an Indianapolis City County Council meeting on Monday night. Roberts was booted along with several of her supporters. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Following a chase on the city's east side, a man in Indy is busted for drugs. Police arrested 26-year-old Mercedes Alizé Chisholm Monday night. He was then charged with 6 counts, including possession of methamphetamine and fentanyl with intent to deal, resisting law enforcement with a vehicle, and possession of drug paraphernalia. A Greenfield man is heading to prison for 10 years plus 4 years of house arrest for sexual misconduct with a 15-year-old girl. 43-year-old William Rather was found guilty on 2 counts of soliciting and engaging in sexual acts with an underage child. He was sentenced Monday. He ended up admitting to police of the acts after they conducted a search warrant at his home. Indiana Pacers head coach Rick Carlisle says a lot of adjustments are needed following Sunday's Game 2 loss to the Thunder in OKC.
Everybody's got to do more. Starts with the best players, starts with
Tyrese and Pascal and Miles, and then it goes from there.
The series is now tied at 1 game apiece in the NBA Finals, heading into Game 3, which is tomorrow night in Indianapolis. And the Fever are looking to build on their current 2-game win streak. Caitlin Clark did practice this week, but is listed as out for tonight's game. Her status remains day-to-day. Tip-off with the Atlanta Dream is set for 7:30 at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Kendall and Casey back in 1 minute.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Well, Casey, we talked about it earlier in the show. It was a wild night last night with the Indianapolis City County Council.
Yeah.
Of course, Lauren Roberts, one of the numerous accusers against Thomas Carl Cook, tried to get up and speak at the meeting last night.
She wanted more than 2 minutes.
Yes, and she was told that request was going to be ignored in the order in which it was received. She tried to keep going. Lauren Roberts and her friends were escorted out by sheriff's deputies.
Yep.
It was mass chaos. There's people. I mean, it was just absolute. I mean, the city government is a mess. And this comes on right after the Republicans and the City County Council had released a list of demands related to that report that came out.
The Fisher-Phillips report.
Right, against the mayor and Thomas Carl Cook. Joining us now on the WIBC hotline, Josh Bane. He's a Republican member of the Indianapolis City County Council. Josh, hello.
Hello, good to be with you.
All right, so last night was utterly ridiculous. Having been an elected person myself, obviously the time limit is there for a reason, but you have broad discretion if you want to let somebody go a little long. Bob Osley should have just let her go. I mean, what was that even all about?
Well, here's the thing, Robert. First thing that was on the council agenda last night was a special resolution honoring a former colleague, Senator Jackson. And Senator Jackson got up, spoke for well over 2 minutes. And the president let her keep going, didn't say anything. And then you have a sexual harassment survivor get up. And because she's damaging the Democratic Party identity in the city of Indianapolis, she gets escorted out. But the thing is, she didn't even get the 2 minutes, though.
That's right.
The Democrats and President Osley started wailing on her like 20, 30 seconds into the thing, just saying, you're not going to talk about that. You have to keep this on the $300,000 spring fiscal, which they were. So it was chaos from the beginning of that. And I will say Democrat council leadership had no intention of letting anyone damage the party brand last night. Ultimately, it backfired.
You may have heard, Josh, I, too, was once escorted out of a meeting by the police for simply asking how an item got on the agenda. I feel kind of bad for the police because, like, with mine, the cop was like, what even happened? And then we told him, and they said, well, go back in there and ask it again.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a total lack of, and you see this with these elected officials where they just lord over people. This woman has clearly been through something traumatic. They should have just let her go, say her piece, and then move on, but they can't stand it.
Yeah, it's really questionable why they didn't just let her speak. And again, I just think they're doing everything they can to protect the Democratic Party identity in the county, and obviously that has completely backfired.
Well, I couldn't believe it. At one point, they pronounced her last name wrong. I don't even work there, and I know her name. That just seemed completely ridiculous to me. They knew who she was. It almost seemed intentional. But at this point, do you believe they just made it worse by doing that?
I think everything that the council Democrats have done throughout this entire process has actually backfired and made it worse. You look at the report, how the report re-traumatized victims and left them feeling even more unheard. And then when you talk about feeling unheard, after 20, 30 seconds, you start cutting them off. Then you get in a shouting match with a sexual harassment survivor that's just trying to tell her story because council Democrats have ignored them up to this point. And rather than listening to them, they forced the sheriff's deputies to escort her out of the building.
Josh Bane from the Indianapolis City County Council is our guest. He's a Republican. We're talking about that wild meeting last night that saw one of the Thomas Carl Cook accusers, Lauren Roberts, and her, the people that were there with her forcibly escorted out of the meeting last night for trying to speak during a public meeting. All right, so this comes on the heels. You guys had already put this out before the meeting. Our pal Peter Blanchard, who was on with us yesterday, amongst others, put this out. Republican counselors demand oversight hearing and transparency following incomplete investigation report. There's a 4-bullet point demand, for lack of a better term, from you guys, the Republicans. Tell us what you guys want.
Yeah, first thing is we need an oversight hearing. We need to know why were the mayor's text messages, like these late-night text messages from, a 60-some-year-old man to a young woman, why were those admitted? What evidence was actually submitted? What was reviewed? What was excluded? What was how did you guys actually determine the scope of the investigation? Because if you read the actual proposal that was passed, it included the Hogsett campaign, but then Fisher Phillips comes back saying, this is outside the scope. We actually weren't able to investigate that. And, we actually have subpoena power during an investigative committee. So you could have subpoenaed Thomas Cook to come and answer questions, but they chose not to.
Wait a second, Josh. That's very important. I want you to say that again, because Thomas Carl Cook refused to participate in the investigation, but what you're saying is you, the council, could have forced him to participate.
When an investigative committee is formed, it actually has a crazy amount of authority that's laid out in state statute. The state of Indiana gives the city county council in Indianapolis the ability to create an investigative committee, and it has subpoena power. So the investigative committee could have subpoenaed Thomas Cook, and they didn't. We need to know why they didn't.
Josh,
and that's just the first bullet point. I mean, you keep going on. We need the full evidence that was submitted to Fisher Phillips. Let's look at the interview logs, the text message notes. We need to know what contracts Thomas Cook had entered into during that 60-some day period where he was left to basically do whatever he wanted to on his way out of the administration. And then we need a public addendum to this report.
Josh Bane with the Indianapolis City County Council is our guest. He's a Republican. Have you talked to any of your Democrat colleagues about why they allowed Cook to not participate?
It's a very good question. I've spoken to a couple of them, and it's a couple of the Democrats I think are trying to figure out how to respond to this because they kind of agree with everything I'm saying here and what Council Republicans are saying, and I think they're just trying to find the political courage to say the right thing, do the right thing. Then you have some counselors out there. I mean, I don't know if you saw the statement that Ron Gibson put out yesterday where, he might as well be Joe Hogsett's own personal emergency contact at this point because he is just like, the mayor did nothing wrong. We stand by him. We support him. And it's like, what a joke.
Wow.
Totally absent-minded and not reading the room at all. And the one thing that I want to make clear here, too, is at every step of the way through this process, as questions get answered, things look worse, and you have even more questions that arise. Mm-hmm. It's not like the more we find out, it's like, okay, well, that actually makes sense. Like, that has not happened once. It's like every time you find out more information, you're left asking more questions and things looking worse and worse and worse for the city.
Josh Bane is with us, Indianapolis councilor. So the Republican councilors are calling for a public oversight hearing. Who's going to pay for that?
Well, I think after $450,000, the Fisher Phillips law firm owes it to the city to come back and do an oversight hearing in person with us. $450,000, that is not chump change, especially given that they had 2 to 3 attorneys working on this. I think they owe it to us. And the thing is, too, for themselves, they are not getting any good publicity from this fallout from their report. You would think just from their own standpoint, they'd want to do some damage control and be like, okay, we need to actually explain why things were omitted, why things were not omitted, and go from there.
Josh, I have one more question for you. Why haven't any of the Republicans on the council called for Hogsett's resignation?
Well, from the very beginning, council Republicans have said we have to learn all the information before we actually make a determination. Republicans don't believe in cancel culture. That's the biggest thing. So I felt like we've been very good stewards throughout this whole process. Calling for someone to resign is, it's a very serious thing to do. So we're going to continue having those discussions, and I would say stay tuned.
All right, Josh, we'll let you go with this. Lauren Roberts said in her Substack report, which is fascinating, it's a 50-page post, and she's the first person in Hogsett's orbit to say this out loud. The guy has a serious drinking problem, and I think that's been known, and I think if you read these text messages, it reeks of someone who wasn't all there. When are people going to start saying the quiet part out loud, that this guy has a serious issue with alcohol and it's totally impeded his ability to be professional and do his job?
Well, I think he clearly needs to get some help, and it would not only be he needs to not only look at what's best for the city, but also what's best for him personally. What has being mayor cost him personally? And at some point you have to say that price is too high to pay, whether you look through and you hate to talk about it, but the guy went through a divorce during the last campaign cycle. It's like, what caused that? I don't want to speculate on someone's marriage and their personal life to that extent, but at what cost is the mayoralship? What's it costing you? And at some point, he needs to have a serious evaluation of that.
Josh Bane, Indianapolis City County Councilor, appreciate the time, and please keep us up to date.
Will do. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for being here. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
you understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
When you work,
as long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
When you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
Traffic when you need it.
Stopped on 465 again.
And updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Fostech is the family-owned business that makes incredible firearms right here in Indiana. Fostech, created by 2 career firefighters and 1 U.S. Air Force veteran. They create special, unique firearms, American craftsmanship, meeting cutting-edge technology. Their Origin 12 shotgun is the envy of the industry, and all their products are designed, machined, assembled, and tested right here in Indiana. Visit Fostech to find a dealer near you, or follow Fostech on Facebook and Instagram at Fostech_Inc. Fostech, Fostech, Fostech.com.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. These issues can be complicated. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Progressive knows when you're in your RV, you're already on vacation. That's when you become Vacation You, who just camped where there's absolutely no shade. Even though regular you burns easily. In fact, Vacation You burns too, but is too stubborn to admit it, which is why regular you gets in trouble at the dermatologist, because Vacation You doesn't do doctors. So bundle your RV with your home or auto policy and earn an automatic discount from Progressive. And spend the savings on the both of you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
I'm going to read you something. I just showed it to you during the break.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable. And we talk about, it's obviously we spent a lot of time in the last couple of days talking about Joe Hogsett and about Thomas Carl Cook.
Correct.
And Peter Blanchard alluded to this yesterday. By the way, it's the Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob. That's Casey. Peter Blanchard from Mirror Indy sort of alluded to this yesterday. He had that fabulous piece out essentially refuting Hogsett's claim that, Cook was just brought in as some sort of advisor, and he was running the show for his 2023 re-election campaign. After they'd all the stuff, he was fully aware.
He was already out.
He flushed him out. He got that cushy job at the law firm and knew exactly what it was and brought him back. And I said, one of the things that I think is troubling to people is why this kept happening. And Blanchard didn't use these exact words, but he basically said, they're sort of the same guy. Like they're kind of joined at the hip.
Doing the same thing.
And there's like a kinship between these two. And I think we've got to
understand each other.
Yeah, we've got to start talking about, when you talk about Thomas Carl Cook and the things that he's alleged to have done, you have to talk about Joe Hogsett with them, because he appears to have many of the same behavior patterns. And clearly they protected each other.
Right.
Cook had the dirt on Hogsett, which the guy clearly has and Lauren Roberts alludes to this in her Substack post. The guy has serious issue with alcohol. He has a personal dumpster fire. Cook knew of all of these things, and it probably started in a friendship or, some capacity, and it grew as Hogsett became the mayor and et cetera. And their power rose together. And then Hogsett, either by force or by choice, felt this obligation, maybe a little of both, to protect Cook from the scrutiny or accountability from these women. And then where Blanchard is right, and again, he didn't use these exact words, but where you can't really separate them is he brought him back. He was free of Thomas Carl Cook. Send him out to the law firm. He's got a cushy job. You're free of this guy. It all goes. He brings him back into his orbit willfully, because it comes, the thing we've talked about so many times, the power to these people and the holding on to power, because the position of power defines them as human beings. That's what people need to realize. The lure of the perception of power and actual power is so addictive to these people. And it ain't just Hogsett. Pick your favorite politician, and that probably applies to them. That is what is more important than anything, and they will do anything to hang on to it. And they saw Shreve as a legitimate threat. And, of course, he wasn't. But with all the money, they saw him as a legitimate threat. And hanging on to that power, he felt he needed Cook.
It's more important.
He needed his friend. He needed his buddy, his companion. And I want to read you right now what Thomas Carl Cook, somebody sent this to me. Think about what is in front of this guy, what this guy's alleged to have done. And all the hard feelings and all the grief he's caused people. And this is his current, what do they call this on Twitter, where it's your handle profile. Here's what he describes himself on Twitter. He hasn't, this is gross. Proud indie resident who enjoys good conversation and unforeseen plot twists.
Yeah.
You have caused people to lose their minds. You have caused people irreparable harm because you used your position. This is the key. It's not because it was some bad relationship. Like, that happens. That's not what this is about. It's about you use your position of authority over these people to get what you wanted. As a government official, that's the biggest part of it. Because you knew these people wanted to be in politics. You knew they wanted to be in government. You knew they were aspiring to move up the ladder. And you offered them some glimmer of hope into that. And then you turned it around on them and said, once you're in the web, and you ain't getting out unless you do what I say. That's what's clear from these allegations. And this guy thinks it's a big joke.
He's bragging.
He thinks it's a big joke. This is all fun and games.
Creating emotional damage.
He's not sorry for any of it. He's not sorry. Now, whether he did everything he's accused of in those allegations, don't know. But clearly there's some level of not just smoke, there's a fire there. These women are all telling the same stories, and they all have levels of evidence by which to back it up.
Yeah, it does really seem that they are kindred spirits. And what have I said before? You are the company you keep.
But he knew, and the reason he does this is he knows he'll never be held to account. He knows Hogsett will protect him. He knows the Democrats and the city county council will not hold Hogsett to account. And as long as that's the order of how things operate, he's going to be fine. And he can just rub it in people's faces.
Not only do they not want to hold him to account, they don't even want to let people speak about it.
Yeah. All right, so we got this letter. Do we have time? Yes, we do have time to go with this. Okay, so we have some fabulous people that run the front desk.
Mm-hmm.
And
downstairs
at our building here on Monument Circle. And when we get letters, they will message us, you got a letter.
You got mail, there's a package.
Yeah, whatever. And so Sweet Teresa, who runs the front desk, and Steven is the other person, she messages me yesterday, and she goes, you have a certified letter. What do you want me to do with it? And Case will back me up on this. I by far get the most amount of certified letters of anybody working in the building.
Yes.
And it usually pertains to something I've said about some sort of politician.
Right.
So I didn't see it until the evening. And I got the message because it was late in the afternoon when she had sent the email. And then I saw the message. And I said, I got to call Case. Let's try to figure out who I've offended this time.
You texted me last night. This is at 9:38. You awake? And I replied, always. Did you just send me a you up text?
So I called you. I said, it's too much to text. And so I said, I got this certified letter. She didn't say who it's from. I said, let's guess who I've offended this week to the point. Because I don't think I've said anything outside the bounds of what I normally say the past week. And all the stuff related to like the OWI stuff was proven correct on Bohachik. By the way, we got to get into him. There's some stuff on him that's very interesting. And then obviously the Baird stuff was completely true. And, what have I said?
So we spent 20 minutes reviewing the topics of the past week. And then, of course, maybe you said something the week I was on vacation. Did you? And you were like, I haven't said anything bad, have I? No, not at all, Rob.
Because it'll come, from the law firm of so-and-so. And so I'm thinking, all right, I'm trying to figure out, because there's just nothing I've said or done.
And then I'm like, okay, why does somebody send a certified letter? Obviously, they want proof that it was received to track it. Maybe they want a return receipt. And then there's also the other reasons, legal protection, increased security and confidentiality.
Casey's reading. She went on to AI and asked her, who would send you a certified letter?
Why would Rob get a certified letter? And then I thought, maybe somebody has the goods on somebody and they want to make sure you get it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not, this is just the game we play. It's not new for me to get a certified letter. It's just, it's fun
Who's
for me
it
to.
from and why?
Who did I offend this
week? And then at one point, you were like, you want to go back up to the station and get it? Like, no, it's 10 o'clock.
You would have done it, though. You said I would have.
Had you called me 3 hours earlier, I would have.
I didn't see the email. All right, but this actually ended up being a fabulously flattering letter. And the fact that the person cared enough to make sure we got it, that they sent it certified mail.
They paid for you to get that.
We have to read this on the air. And this is the thing, when I see these messages from people, and we get them all the time, and I guess it touched me even more because they sent it via this certified mail, about the connection that we have with thousands of people. And you see this connection now. People view us and this show and this radio station, and you say to the politicians, this could be you.
Yeah. Just tell the truth.
You have the power to actually do the stuff that we talk about should be done. You would be beloved if you had the ballular area. Well, I do. You don't, as far as I know. You are a woman.
Correct.
Yes, yeah. And you guys would be just beloved if you would just grow a pair and actually do the things that we talk about needing to be done. People are so
Fight
hungry.
for the people that elected you.
Yes.
Do what you say you were going to do.
Yes. So this came from William. And it's very nice inside. I'm actually going to keep it. I'm actually going to hang it up with the certified letter, which was so flattering that he just spent that much money to make sure we got this letter. But I'm going to read the letter, if that's okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Maestro. Rob, I'm back. Bringing many, many years of political observation. There seldom comes along a person such as you with a platform that has the courage to pursue the truth, no matter the pushback. You are exposing how our elected officials operate government, not as our elected representatives, but as an elite club, preserving their power and egos for their personal gain. They are so embedded in their majorities and making their own rules, it has become almost impossible with today's election process to break into their political club with constitutional-minded people. We must change this political sickness by treating the root cause. We need term limits for the legislature. No more than 2 terms. Allowing the filtering in of people who believe in the constitutional purpose of the government and are willing to give a limited time of their life to represent the majority of citizens. After FDR, we saw the need for presidential term limits to prevent the long-term power of the executive branch. Now, due to the political process, it is time to prevent the long-term power and control of the legislature, which now has sustained power over the governor. We should have a massive effort to pressure candidates running for office in our primaries and town hall meetings to sign contracts to bring forward and sign term limit changes in our state constitution. It touched my heart that he was willing to send it certified mail. And so we have to read that on the air. If you're going to spend $10 to send me a letter, I'm going to read it on the air.
The founders of the country thought it was an obligation that you had to serve, and they didn't want to do it, but they felt obligated to do it. Now it's become a path to wealth.
Yeah. And people who I think went in well-meaning get swallowed up because they don't at their core have the stones to stand up, not to the pressure of something negative, but to the pressure of the freebies. They call it the hot tub, right? They don't have the ability to say, no, I was sent here for these people and I'm willing to suffer to help them. They're promoting themselves. They're promoting their friends. They're giving their friends cushy jobs who are totally unqualified for positions. They're protecting them, the shield that becomes their brand, above you, above what's right. And so that letter meant a lot. So, William, we're going to hang this letter in the Kendall and Casey office, and thank you for taking the time to send us that.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating. And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough nose and throat evaluation, along with the simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to AdventKnows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
You probably have a dream retirement in mind, but do you know how to get there? The difference between dreaming and living your ideal retirement comes down to having the right plan. And that's where Howard Bailey Financial can help. At Howard Bailey Financial, we've created a free retirement toolkit to help you bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Text DREAM to 888-262-1104 to download your free retirement toolkit that includes a retirement checklist, Social Security decisions guide, estate planning guide, and more. We want your dream retirement to be your reality. And it starts by texting DREAM to 888-262-1104. Let us help you take the next step toward the retirement of your dreams. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's Spruce, the new hard-working, worry-free weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people and pets. When used as directed, spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Weeds die by the next day. Find Spruce wherever weed killers are sold.
Integrity, responsibility, humility.
Commitment, discipline, grit.
Leadership, resilience, dependability.
This is what it takes to be a high school student athlete. It's also what it takes to be a high school sports fan. Plus,
loyalty, sportsmanship, respect.
Support, encouragement, being a positive role model.
Buying a ticket, showing up, cheering loud and proud.
I'm Robert Falcons, Assistant Commissioner of the IHSAA, and these student athletes need your support in the stands.
I'm Sawyer Tittman from Fort Wayne Snyder High School.
I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School.
I'm Owen Fouts from Yorktown High School.
It means a lot when we have fans at our games to cheer us on.
It helps us dig even deeper and do our very best.
It takes all of us to represent our school and community with pride.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is supporting your student athletes. This is showing up for your team. This is your IHSAA.
Hey guys, it's Rob. You know, the weather is all over the place right now, but one thing we do know, it is getting warmer. And if you're thinking about summer, you want to stay cool in your home all summer long. That's where Universal Windows Direct comes in right now with their home improvement season sale. Call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574, where you can get payments for as low as $99 a month. That's right, $99 a month, or no payments and no interest for an entire year. The choice is yours. Universal Windows Direct, they're top-notch. They'll come out. They'll do great work. So to get all the information, some restrictions may apply. So to get all that information and, most importantly, schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation in-home estimate, call today, 317-659-7574, 317-659-7574, and ask about how you can get payments for as low as $99 a month or no payments and no interest for an entire year. Tell them Rob sent you.
Weekday mornings at 7:15, the Tony Katz Popcorn Moment, brought to you by Boer Remodeling. Don't wait any longer for the kitchen you've been dreaming of. Request a consultation at boerremodeling.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Trying to handle the riots. It's sunny and 69. We'll get up to 76 today with plenty of sunshine. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Now lawmakers on Capitol Hill are debating President Trump's response to the ongoing anti-ICE protests happening in Los Angeles.
Democrats are on one side, Republicans on the other. Democrats struggled with illegal immigration in the 2024 election, and the border optics are back with a vengeance. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is again hitting ICE agents for wearing masks. Jeffries will not say whether the Fed should detain illegal immigrants. House Democrats from the Los Angeles area are holding a press conference this morning. They're focusing on what they say are, quote, unlawful actions by the president. House Speaker Mike Johnson defended President Trump for sending in federal troops.
Fox's Chad Pergam reporting on Capitol Hill. 700 Marines have been sent to assist with handling the situation. President Trump speaking with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday about the ongoing war with Hamas, who has said it will release some of the hostages, but that they want to ensure that Israel abides by the ceasefire terms before releasing all of them. The Gaza Health Ministry reports Israel has killed more than 54,000 Palestinians during their war in that region. And a top House Republican is announcing his plans to retire. Tennessee Congressman and Homeland Security Chairman Mark Green says he will leave Congress once the big, beautiful bill passes. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Okay, so I sent you this video, and obviously it is disturbing beyond belief, but I felt like we had to talk about it because it was making its way all over the internet.
Yeah.
And it is this video of a YouTuber. that what they call it?
Yeah.
If you're on the YouTube?
Yeah, YouTuber.
I mean, we're not YouTubers, are we? We're on YouTube, but
We're
not
broadcasters who are on YouTube.
Okay, very good. All right, but this guy just is on the
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, and I don't know what he does. I don't know the background on all this, but he's live streaming himself in Las Vegas,
Yeah, he's right in front of the Bellagio fountains.
and another YouTube guy on camera walks right up and shoots him.
Yep, and his wife.
Okay, you have the names of who these people are?
Yeah, so it was YouTuber Finney DeLegend and his wife Bubbly that were shot and killed during this live stream.
So they were both killed.
They were both killed. And Manuel Ruiz, he goes by Manny Wise, is the one who did the shooting. He turned himself in the next day and was charged with 2 counts of open murder with a deadly weapon.
So this is like crazy to see in real time, where it is like almost something out of a movie, where there's people on the strip, they're minding their own business, they're, engaged in pleasant conversation. This guy sets up, who's the guy who got shot? What's his name?
Finney and Bubbly.
Finney.
Husband and wife. They had, I guess, what you would consider just a lighthearted, upbeat content about their relationship on camera.
So he sets this still cam up. I don't know what he's trying to shoot. I don't know if he's
just framing out the shot,
Yeah.
and they were going to do something in front of it.
And you see this guy, the other guy, whatever his name is.
Mhm.
What's the guy's name that did the shooting?
Manny Wise.
Manny Wise.
Manuel.
Manny
Mm-hmm.
walks up in the frame.
Mhm.
There's another woman who's basically begging him to stop. I don't know if she's with him or not. He just starts open firing, and you can see the bullets coming out of the gun. You can see the weapon firing, and he kills this guy on camera. It's amazing. I mean, horrible. I mean, amazing in a horrible sense that.
Yeah, it was live streaming.
Yeah, well, Nathan and I were talking about this during the break, that it's basically like this guy, you're giving yourself a death sentence by killing this guy live on camera. What could possibly have been happening? You guys are on YouTube. You're on YouTube.
They're at odds with each other, and that was part of their content, was that they would pick on each other during their show, their programs.
Well, but I mean, that's fine. You know me. We're all for the smack talking around here, but I've never in my entire life ever felt compelled, no matter who I was upset with, hey, I'm going to go find them on the street and shoot them. There's a huge step there. This is the internet. You're on YouTube. What is wrong with you? What could possibly have been said or done where you feel like I've got to do that?
Is this a jealousy thing? Are they mad at each other over likes and shares? Because that's wholly ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and it's not like you can only like or share one thing. You can like or share both, the last time I checked.
Yeah. So this is what it sounded like.
I mean, and it really does, where we are at in our culture and the lack of self-control that people have, because it's premeditated, clearly. He clearly found this guy. He goes, he executes him.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened related to the internet that causes you to commit premeditated acts of violence on other people. I think it's pretty hard for someone to loathe somebody more than I loathe some of these politicians. But I've never, ever in my entire life pondered any sort of physical violence or anything on any of these people. I come in here, I say my piece, I go home. That's it, right? That's how America works and how it should work. But there's something wrong, very wrong, with these people where in your mind, the only conflict resolution is I'm going to go commit premeditated murder against you.
Yeah, it is quite the indictment how online fame has outpaced real world safety. And you got to wonder, is this one of those situations where he thought he would be more famous after an act like this?
That's interesting.
Now he'll be famously spending time in jail.
Well, and another thing about the internet, and you and I have talked about this at length, which is hey, if I say it here, I'll say it right to your face. And how many times have we done that, right? There's no difference here. I say it if you were standing 2 feet in front of me. I'll say it if you're standing 2 miles away from me. It don't matter. But so many people who they're emboldened by their sense of anonymity is not the right word.
Well, no, because that guy knew that it wasn't just a crime. It was a live streamed execution.
Right, but I'm saying they're emboldened by the feelings that, and I'm trying, what's the word? There's a certain protection of being behind a keyboard or a video screen.
Keyboard warrior.
Yeah, like, but then something triggered an escalation to where it resulted in real world violence. Like, there's people all the time that hop in our YouTube chat. They're always under anonymous names too that say just, I hate Rob. You usually get a free pass for some reason, but it's almost always directed at me, and it's always somebody under an anonymous name, and so that narrows it down based on, by the way, a bunch of people are stupid, and you talk about things that nobody else would care about, so we know who you are and who you're with, okay? So luckily, they're not the brightest people that go under the anonymous assumed names, and Case and I then get a chuckle out of when we narrow it down to 2 or 3 people. But it's like, the internet has given people this level of boldness that they would never have in person. And it's kind of pathetic. Like, if you're more bold behind a keyboard than you're willing to be to somebody's face, you're kind of a pathetic person.
Take the phone away. So YouTube obviously removed the channel from Manny, the shooter. They also cited him with community guideline violations.
Oh, well, that was,
was
big of them.
Yeah. They said they have a zero tolerance policy in regards to violence. But, I mean, you got to wonder, is this the sort of thing where he wasn't getting the attention he was craving just based off of his likes and views on his YouTube channel, so he had to escalate it somehow?
Yeah, I mean...
And that's what popped in his mind.
Yeah, I know we got to get to a break, but here's the thing. When you're living for the stuff of this world, whether it's fame, adulation, clicks, likes, whatever, over living for something bigger than yourself, you're going to put yourself in a position where that thing, that beef, that whatever, is so important that you go to these extreme levels of ridiculousness. And sadly, not only are multiple people dead, but this guy's life is over. And for what? For what? And so you need to,
because he didn't like himself.
You got to priority check yourself. All right. No Hammer today, right? Is he still out?
No. How about we get into some Trump fights?
Oh, how exciting. Speaking
Who
of
he's
fighting.
mad at today.
There we go.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the rioting in Los Angeles continues, and so does the gaslighting from the Democratic Party. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
With a B&W Premier Club membership, you'll stay ahead of breakdowns and costly repairs. Our members get routine maintenance, priority scheduling, and exclusive discounts, saving you money and keeping your family comfortable all season long. Visit bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108 for more information.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. You know, Life Church has 4 campuses all across central Indiana: Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton, in addition to great online services. And Life Church also wants to acknowledge that Father's Day is coming up on Friday. You know, Life Church knows there are so many fathers who are working hard and leading their families closer to Jesus. To those people, they say, well done. Life Church honors fathers. They'd love the opportunity, whether it's Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, or Pendleton, to see you and your father this Sunday. Learn more on the web, lifechurchin.com.
Attention. If you suffer from consistent pain in your joints caused by arthritis, overuse, or injury, you may be a candidate for a revolutionary therapy that could revitalize damaged tissue. This approach can provide long-lasting relief from pain in your knees, shoulders, hips, and other joints with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. To find out if you're a viable candidate, you may request a free consultation from QC Kinetics by calling 463-251-1912. Instead of masking the symptoms, it goes to the root of the problem to resolve it at its source. Already used by thousands of satisfied patients nationwide, this joint pain therapy is available right now to the public, but only for qualified candidates. Again, to find out if you're a viable candidate for this therapy, you may request a free consultation by calling QC Kinetics at 463-251-1912. That's 463-251-1912.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Guys, don't waste time and money with low-quality online TRT that charges you over $100 just to start. Visit the TRT experts at the Low T Center for a free consultation and a free test. Treatment is personalized to your body, and most major insurances accept it. Looking to lose weight? Get a free B12 shot when you start prescription treatment right now at the Low T Center. Offer is limited, but book right now. FixMyLowT.com. That's FixMyLowT.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out a variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
For the first time in 25 years, your Pacers are in the finals.
4 seconds to go. Halliburton for three! Three ball! Indiana by 1 and 1/10 seconds to go. You have got to be kidding me.
Catch the Blue and Gold and Thunder for Game 3 Wednesday at 8:30. Score your tickets at Pacers.com/finals. Pacers, Thunder, Game 3 Wednesday. Pacers Finals presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Join the Home and Garden Show this Saturday when they'll be live 9 to 1 at Sullivan Hardware and Garden at 71st and Keystone for the 9th annual Slaw Fest. Tickets are just $25. It's a full day of family fun, live music, local drinks, and over 30 slaw dishes.
Trump should not have done that.
Done what?
Well, I feel like he took the bait, saying he'd arrest Gavin Newsom.
Oh, yeah.
He gave him a headline.
Yeah, Gavin Newsom came out and said, I told the president, get over it, arrest me.
So, okay, the backstory on this, obviously, I think most people know, but just in case you don't, there's been serious looting, rioting, etc. in Los Angeles. They claim it's related to people being mad about ICE arresting illegal immigrants. Of course, most of these people are just looking for reasons, as we saw during the riots of 2020. Oftentimes they end up being paid people, etc., but they're just looking for reasons to cause destruction and take people's stuff. And Newsom wasn't doing anything about it. The worthless mayor, Seabass, was not doing anything about it. And so Trump was like, well, screw it. I'm not just going to let these people lose their jobs or their businesses or, in some cases, their lives, potentially. I'm sending in the National Guard.
Yep.
And Newsom threw a fit over the fact that Trump sent in the National Guard to restore order in these pockets of Los Angeles. And basically could be construed as trying to interfere in the Guard and the federal government trying to restore order. And so Tom Homan, who's the border czar, came out and said that he was not opposed to arresting Gavin Newsom if he continues to interfere in the law enforcement doing their jobs, or in this case the Guard working with law enforcement to do their jobs. And Trump then got asked about it and said, yeah, go ahead and arrest him. And then, of course, Newsom sprints to the nearest cellular phone and plays victim on social media, which is what he wanted. He wants a rallying cry for the left. Newsom would love nothing more than Trump to arrest him.
Of course he would. I think
and Trump gave it to him. Trump gave him a win.
I think somebody got the message because I saw some video where they were passing out American flags to all of those protesters.
Well, they had Mexican flags.
Correct.
But they claim they want these people to be in this country, but yet they're flying Mexican flags.
Right. It doesn't make any sense. And I've heard rumors that there might be some rumblings here in Indianapolis this weekend.
Well, you've got to, if you're Trump, you've got to be bigger than the issue in front of you and see what the whole photo is. And for Trump, the whole photo is you want to get as many of these people who are in this country illegally, and especially the ones who are violent offenders or a propensity for violence, off the streets.
Mm-hmm.
And the American public is showing, I mean, there was some poll that came out from Rasmussen, and Tony was talking about it this morning, like he has like a 57% approval rating amongst Hispanics.
Yeah.
People are on your side on the immigration issue. Just do your job. People will continue to be on your side. Just do your job. You don't need to get in a tit for tat with Gavin Newsom. The Democrats lost the election in large part because of the border. You're doing what you said you're going to do. Just let it play itself out. But then you give, because it's all political posturing. Newsom wants to be president. He can't be president without winning the Democrat nomination. He's got a major problem, and the left doesn't trust him. So he's appealing to insane people. And you giving him the see, Trump said he's going to arrest me, that will build him up with the insane people, which is what this is all about.
So hundreds of Marines are now being sent in to assist in Los Angeles. And Donald Trump was asked about Gavin Newsom, and this is what he said.
Isn't he a competent governor? Look at the job he's doing in California. He's destroying one of our great states. And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening, and they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, well, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed. You saw what was happening. So we did the right thing. Everybody agrees to that. But you have a governor who let the city burn down, didn't want water to be sent down to him. I sent billions of gallons of water. I wanted to do it in the first term. He wouldn't do it over, I don't know, they have environmental reasons, but there were no environmental reasons. I think it's just a political philosophy. But it's lucky for the people in Los Angeles and in California that we did what we did. We got it just in time. It's still simmering a little bit, but not very much.
Yeah, I mean, the people are on your side. You're absolutely right. The statement was fine. Just let it go. Don't get into this, I'm going to arrest him stuff, because that's what he wants.
Yeah. It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. And coming up, we've got to talk more about this. Republicans are looking to reset on Trump's big, beautiful bill. And then yesterday he was hosting that roundtable to promote one of the features of that bill, Trump accounts.
It's a disaster.
Money for babies.
Disaster.
It's 93 WIBC.
Indiana summer storms are rolling in, and if you're like me, you're not climbing up on your roof to check for damage. That's why you call Moss Roofing. Family-owned. Right here in central Indiana for over 30 years, Moss Roofing gives you something hard to find these days: honest work and peace of mind. They offer free inspections, and I mean a real thorough checkup of your roof, your siding, your gutters, and your windows. If there's storm damage, they'll show you the photos, explain everything clearly and thoroughly, and even work with your insurance company for you. No stress, no pressure, just real professionals doing the job right every single time. Protect your home and avoid bigger problems later. Call Moss Roofing today. 317-747-3665. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-747-3665. Family owned, Moss Roofing. 747-3665 or online at Moss, M-O-S-S, mossroofing.com.
Have you ever checked your Social Security statement to see how much money you'll get in retirement? Guess what? This number could be a lot less or a lot more than the number on your statement. It's Hammer and Nigel, and you could discover how you could get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. We trust Bill, and you can too.
So if you have saved more than $200,000 but have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery. 317-648-5120. This free analysis takes the guesswork out of filing for your benefits, and most importantly, it could help you get every penny that's rightfully yours. Free analysis. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see the full line of Kubota or visit McAllisterKubota.com.
You ready to build your custom dream home? Check out Joyner Homes based out of Greenfield. See one of their model homes in person anytime. It is a great way for you to experience the customization and quality of a Joyner Homes custom-built home. Plus, you can meet with a new home specialist to learn about their building process. Available lots if you don't already have one. Find out about floor plans and where they build. Model homes are open 7 days a week from noon to 5, and walk-ins are welcome. Find out more at JoynerHomes.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, what led to a former staffer being booted from a city-county council meeting, and what measures local officials will be taking to keep Game 3 tomorrow night safe for fans. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
Questioning the response to the Los Angeles protests. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We all see the continuous loops on TV, but this looks nothing like the George Floyd protests or the Rodney King riots in Los Angeles in 1992.
Democratic Congresswoman Betty McCollum calls premature and escalatory President Trump's deployment of the National Guard and Marines who aren't in L.A. yet, now undergoing training.
Mr. Secretary, this is a deeply unfair position to put our Marines in. Their service should be honored. It should not be exploited.
The Congresswoman was addressing Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at a House hearing. He replied to her George Floyd protest reference.
I recall 2020 quite well when Governor Walz abandoned a police precinct and allowed it to be burned to the ground, and also allowed 5 days of chaos to occur inside the streets of Minneapolis.
And he defended the Guard deployment a short time ago.
We believe that ICE, which is a federal law enforcement agency, has the right to safely conduct operations.
This after a fourth day and night of protests against illegal immigration raids, with some demonstrators in masks clashing with law enforcement again.
And they've committed a whole rash of crimes, whether it's lighting Waymos on fire, shooting commercial-grade fireworks at police officers, not hurling insults at them, hurling actually cinder blocks and bricks at the police.
L.A. County DA Nathan Hochman tells Fox those arrested will be prosecuted. That hearing with Secretary Hegseth is focused on the military's budget, and later today, he's going to go to North Carolina with the commander-in-chief.
The president will visit Fort Bragg to kick off the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army. Fort Bragg is one of the largest military bases in the world and is home to the Army's Airborne Corps and Special Operations Command. President Trump will address soldiers and their families.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. They're in mourning in Austria. After a school shooting this morning in the city of Graz, 8 students were killed. So was an adult shot by a 21-year-old who brought 2 guns to the school and then killed himself. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A city-county council meeting going off the rails. Mostly sunny, 70 on Monument Circle. We'll get up to 76 for a high. I'm Jarrett Lewis for Moss Roofing. Here's what's trending at 11:02. A former campaign staffer for Mayor Joe Hogsett's former deputy chief of staff is booted from a meeting Monday night after refusing to stop speaking to the council.
Users like Joe Hogsett.
You are now done.
Meanwhile, the Republican
Roberts,
I am
you
not
are done. Yes, you
Meanwhile,
are.
the Republican members of this council continue to use survivors and our stories as a political football.
Lauren Roberts and other women have accused Thomas Cook of sexual harassment, but a Chicago law firm found no legal wrongdoing by Hogsett and his office in their handling of the allegations. Police say a teenager is in custody in relation to a shooting Sunday at a Kroger. The incident happened earlier this week along 16th Street, just northeast of downtown. Officers ended up catching the suspect, who had a gun and marijuana on him at the time. No one was injured in the shooting. Can you afford a comfortable life in Indiana? Johnette Cruz breaks things down.
If you're single and looking for a place where your paycheck goes further, a new study says Indiana is one of the better spots to be in. But you be the judge of that after listening to these numbers. While the number for a single person here is around $86,000 a year, that actually makes Indiana the 11th most affordable state in the nation for singles. The story changes for families, however. The study shows a family of 4 needs to earn over $220,000 to cover not just the bills, but also savings and hobbies, highlighting a growing financial challenge for parents in the Hoosier State. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
The Keystone Group is buying a building on Monument Circle. The development group says a project in the old Anthem building will likely include rooftop views, outdoor amenities, and parking. Keystone purchased 1 million square feet of vacant office space for $250 million. And safety will be paramount when the Indiana Pacers host the Oklahoma City Thunder for Game 3 of the MDA Finals Wednesday night at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. That's part of what IMPD Chief Chris Bailey said earlier this morning.
Neighborhoods will be protected. No one in our city will go without police protection despite the festivities going on in downtown Indianapolis.
He says they've adjusted their staffing to increase their footprint around the whole city to ensure everyone has a safe and enjoyable time. Game 3 tomorrow night. Game 4 will be on Friday. I'm Jarrett Lewis, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Okay, we are running a car drive right now to help veterans all across America. So if you have an old car, truck, or van, even a motorcycle or an RV sitting around, you can right now give it away and help the vets. They really need your help. And your car will help support the vets and their families. And guess what? You even get a tax donation. Plus, we'll even come and pick up your car for free. And all you've got to do is pick up your phone right now and make a free call. Now is the perfect time to do something good for the vets. Give back to the vets right now for all they've done for this country. And your old car can really help them. So call the Veterans Car Donation Program right now for free pickup of your vehicle. Help the vets and help your taxes at the same time. Call right now.
800-883-3024. 800-883-3024. 800-883-3024. That's 800-883-3024.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Look, I like a lot of things Trump is doing and has done, but the way they are handling this big bullcrap bill and the way they're demonizing people who are just simply saying, we got to have some fiscal sanity, and the ridiculous comparisons or allegations that they're making now, I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Well, it now seems that one of Trump's top aides is getting into it with Rand Paul, who's been very critical of the bill.
Yeah, so Stephen Miller, who was with the first Trump administration, he's back. I don't know what his official title is, aide, spokesman.
Top aide.
Yeah, okay, yeah, just some guy who his job is to go out and parrot, right? And all the administrations have it, and I'm not blaming him. But I saw some article on The Hill that I sent over to you where he's going at Rand Paul, and he's basically trying to blame the stuff in California on Rand Paul because he's trying, and this is it's ridiculous.
Well, Paul said that he wanted to cut some of the funding for deportations and border security. He said, the bill has 150 and they could do it for 75.
So 75 billion sounds like a lot of money to me.
Right.
And it also sounds like a good way to do it, saying we'll give you this. If you do a good job with it,
We'll give you more.
Then we'll give you more. Show us like any business. Show us, we'll give you money. We're not talking about $10. We're talking about 75 billion. That's a lot of money. Also in line with fiscal sanity, which says, hey, we don't have any money to begin with, so every dollar's printed. And by the way, if we give you less in the beginning, it means then we'll have to cut less out of this to make it neutral, blah, blah, blah. There's nothing unreasonable that he said. He's not saying no money. He's not saying no additional money.
He's just saying less.
He's saying we will give you less, prove that it will work, and then we'll be open to giving you more. And Stephen Miller rushes out and like a little child starts saying that the stuff in California is on Rand Paul, all the doomsday scenario stuff. And it's so frustrating that the Republicans who run every time on this fiscal accountability stuff, we'll clean up the spending, and then some guy comes out and is like, yeah, we really should clean up the spending, and here's how we should do it. And then he turns into, they try to label him as some pro-terrorist, gang member, illegal immigrant, sympathizer person, and I've had it.
So Rand Paul was on Fox News' Sunday Morning Futures, and he said Congress is like a bunch of drunken teenagers. The spending is literally out of control. And he said that they should not accept the swamp's version of reality, suggesting that borrowing money is the only way to secure the border. And then he said, not just him, there's been a few other that pledged to vote against the bill unless they include more spending cuts in it. And Stephen Miller, he just did not like that.
Well, and what's interesting
now they're vilifying him.
Well, and you've
for
seen
wanting
this,
to save.
You've seen this play out, which is they can lose 3 and still pass the bill. And what's interesting is instead of going to Rand Paul and Ron Johnson, stereo salesman, Fast Times at Ridgemont High, now U.S. Senator from Wisconsin, and saying, hey, what do you guys want to see? Like, how do you get to yes? Let's make the bill look so that which is more in line with what the American people voted for. They've basically put them in a corner and said, well, we've lost 2, and now they're cutting deals with Murkowski and Collins and Hawley and Moran, the guy from Kansas. Like, it's how much can we give away to keep you engaged, rather than saying, well, let's find out what these guys on the fiscal conservative side want. They've written them off. They're not trying to go along with them or get them to yes. They're just saying, how much can we throw at these other people, and how much bigger can we make this bill?
Well, now you've got the Senate Majority Leader. He's trying to form some small working groups to build a consensus. He's like, let's just have some little pockets that are working together, and that way we can reach this grand compromise by the end of June. Of course, they're trying to get this done by the July 4th deadline.
It's bad governance. The whole bill is bad governance because they're doing the thing that they rail against when they're not in power, which is you're lumping all of these things, many of them that can't pass on their own. You're putting it in one bill with the thing that you say you have to pass to try to leverage against people and daring them to vote against it. And all of these people should be rejecting that and saying that's not how we govern. You want border security? Here's what it costs. Pay for it. Find the money somewhere else. Just like you live your life. You want new expenditures? You don't have extra money. We have no money. Okay, you cut it somewhere else, which is what Rand Paul's saying. Okay, you want these tax cuts to continue. Thomas Massey made a great point, as he so often does. I want to read this on Twitter, because one of the little games that the Republicans are trying to play is they're trying to say that continuing the tax cuts shouldn't count because they score the bill, right? The Congressional Budget Office, et cetera, they score the bill and say it'll add so and so much to the deficit. And the Republicans are trying to say, well, continuation of the tax cuts, even though it will continue to add to the deficit because of the revenue not coming in, they're trying to say, well, no, that shouldn't count. They're trying to manipulate numbers rather than be honest with you as an American. They're trying to get the thing to say what they want it to say, which they just railed on Biden and the Democrats for doing, and now they're doing it. And Thomas Massey made a good point. He said, quote, someone who loves the big, beautiful bill and argues that extending the 2017 tax cuts shouldn't be counted as detrimental to the deficit needs to answer this. Why do the big, beautiful bill tax cuts on tips, overtime, and seniors expire in 3 years? Because they had to manipulate the numbers.
Right.
So these tax cuts do count against the deficit. These don't. It's horrible governance. It's dishonest governance. It's the exact thing they rail on the Democrats for doing when they're in charge. And they're just mad they're getting caught rather than actually serving and following through on the promises they made to you. And then they vilify every person who raises their hand and says, you promised something different. Does this sound familiar, Casey? Where someone runs on something and they promise to do something and vote for me and I'll be different and I'm going to go in there, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then they don't do this and you raise your hand and you go, you promised and you're not doing it. Well, you're just unhinged.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? Have we heard that somewhere?
I know exactly what you're talking about. And when you call it out, then you're the problem.
That's right. Luckily, I don't care what people think of me.
Which is exactly what is happening to Rand Paul.
Yes.
And happened to Elon Musk.
Isn't it amazing how if you break it down, what's happening in Indiana with some of our elected officials, Bobblehead, Beckwith, and Braun, and those guys for not following through. And the people that are like, hey, why did we even vote for you? You promised to do A, B, and C. It's no different than what we had before. You're not behaving any differently than the people who were in there before, who you were critical of. Oh, and by the way, they loved it when you were critical of the people that were in there or the people they were running against. Then you apply the same standard to them, and then you suddenly turn into some Bond villain. And then it's the same thing. You see it happening in Washington, where Rand Paul, Thomas Massey, Trump hates them. They're awful people. Elon Musk, oh, he's a bad guy. All they're asking you to do is do the things you promised when you ran. That's it.
And now Trump is saying that Rand Paul doesn't know anything about government, and it's exactly like people saying you don't know anything about property taxes.
Well, exactly. And again, just like we laid out today, you're seeing it play out with these school districts across the state. They're doing exactly what I said they were going to do. The lawmakers don't get they don't not know they're wrong. They know they're wrong. They're mad that they get called out. They're mad that they get caught. They're mad that there's accountability. These people depend on being able to hold strings over people. And when you take somebody like a Massey or a Rand Paul, who are safe because their constituents like them, and they know why they like them, so it doesn't matter how much money you run against an opponent, they're going to win. That infuriates them because there's no strings to be held over them.
Okay, we're going to talk about the latest article in the Indiana Capitol Chronicle about Senator Bohacek here in Indiana. But first, Donald Trump hosted a White House roundtable yesterday, and this was to promote one of the features of the bill, which he calls the Trump accounts for newborns. Let's take a listen.
One of the most exciting parts of the one big, beautiful bill. It is indeed a big, beautiful bill, and it's doing very well. The Trump accounts, as they call it, pilot program, which will make it possible for countless American children to have a strong start in life at no cost to the American taxpayer. Absolutely no cost. It's going to have a huge impact.
Okay, who is someone donating this money?
Yeah, I heard him say that, and I thought, no cost. Is this part of the investment money from one of these other countries, like Saudi Arabia, or like who's paying?
Yeah, but once it becomes our money, it's our money.
Right.
It is a cost to an American taxpayer. And by the way, the government can't manage anything. How's Social Security doing? How's Medicare doing? How's Medicaid doing? And Trump's response to that is, let's create an account that we'll manage for you, and it'll be great because we're so good at everything.
Right. So this applies to U.S. citizens who are born between January 2025 and January of 2029. Federal government will provide a $1,000 initial contribution to an investment account. You don't get to pick the account. They're just saying this is where it is. And then the accounts allegedly are going to be managed by child's legal guardian.
So stop. Why don't we do Social Security that way? Why don't we do Medicare that way? Instead of giving it to the government, and you get basically zero return on it, think about the amount of money you put in over your life to Social Security versus the paltry return you get when you're old enough to collect it. If the government can't manage money, if the government can't manage money over the long term, which he's admitting by putting it in some private investment account, why don't we do the entitlements that way? Why don't you let me decide how I'm going to spend my money? Why don't you decide, why is it okay for this one, but the thing that is bankrupting our country because there is no return, because the government can't manage anything, and Republicans are just going along with this. But Rand Paul and Massey are the bad guys and all this. Republicans are just going along with this like this is normal behavior. Another entitlement. It's another thing you're going to have to sign up for. The money will run out from whatever accounting trick he's claiming to do so that it doesn't cost the U.S. taxpayer anything. And then you'll be on the hook for it because Qatar won't have any other jets to give us or Saudi Arabia won't have any other investment to make with us. It's ridiculous. And somebody has got to step up and go, stop, Mr. President, and be the voice of reason. And yet the only people who are the voices of reason get vilified and called awful, horrible things.
You also have some corporate involvement in this, where you've got companies like Dell Technologies has said that they will match the government's $1,000 for each newborn child of its employees. Okay, so Dell is committing to matching $1,000. Well, what about the employees that aren't having a baby?
Right. Yeah, right.
They don't get $1,000.
And so, and I get that they say, well, we have a population issue in this country. We do. But the issue is not just give people money. So, like, if you're not ready to be a parent, but you're like, well, I'm going to get $1,000. Is that really
$2,000 if you work for Dell?
Well, but I'm saying the sort of people who are going to be on the fence about whether or not to have children, $1,000.
Is that really the decision maker that you want?
Let me tell you how fast you go through that $1,000 as someone with a toddler running around.
Right.
That lasts about 8 seconds.
Right.
8 seconds. And that's if you shop at Costco. 4 if you shop at a traditional retail store. All right, let's talk about Bohachik when we come back, because he is still driving. Mike Bohachik, the senator who we broke the story that he had this horrific OWI back during session. He has skated out of accountability because of this shield. They still don't have a judge, which means there's no restrictions that have been put on him as of yet. And now he's trying to make it, even though he's still driving, he refused the breathalyzer, should have had his license yanked away from him. He's still driving, and he's trying to keep that going. This guy is gross. These people down the street from us are gross. Nobody's calling this out. Capitol Chronicle has a big article on it.
It's coming up next on 93 WIBC.
In Oklahoma City, game 2. Oklahoma City still leads by 17 points.
You know, I just got to figure out how to be better.
The Pacers are down by 19.
I don't think we had a single point in the paint in the first quarter.
The Pacers are down by 21 points.
We just played poorly. You can't be a team that's reactive.
The lead is back up to 22.
They never really were close.
The NBA Finals return home to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacers Thunder. Coverage of Game 3 starts Wednesday night at 8 on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Has your house become a burden? Why not sell it to us? Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to assist people in difficult situations. Simple Quarters has helped over 3,000 families sell their homes in Indiana.
Wanda's been in real estate. I've been in construction, so she would find properties that we could fix up and resell or rent.
Probably we've flipped about 40 houses. I don't want to do it anymore. Health is not good. We're in our early 80s. Sometimes you have to give it up.
James, he did a good job. James was very cordial and, like I say, responded to our phone calls and kept in contact with us. So he did a good job.
When I got the purchase agreement, and he did have things in there that was pertinent to me. It's important.
Yeah, James followed through on what he said. Did what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Other companies make broken promises, but at Simple Quarters, we keep our word. Sell your home to people you can trust. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. 317-900-HOME.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today. Today.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. SkillBridge and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify.
These people in the Indiana General Assembly, our lawmakers, they just clearly don't think any sort of accountability, applies to them at all. I mean, this is just unbelievable, the latest on this Mike Bohachik stuff. And it really is an insight into the elitism of these people, how they view themselves, and how you are nothing, and in any sort of obligation, you is nothing but a nuisance to them. This is just an unbelievable thing that he's trying to pull off now.
Yeah, he's still legally driving this after 5 months after that alleged drunk driving incident, which happened January 24th in Michigan City. He requested to keep his license by installing an ignition interlock device instead of facing any sort of suspension. His attorney filed a motion on June 5th arguing that a license suspension would cause substantial hardship to him and his family.
Okay, so let's remind everybody, though, the background on this. Okay, so I know most of our audience knows, but we need to keep reiterating how these people believe they are above the law. They believe they are better than you. They have no respect for you, and if you keep voting for them, you're voting to disrespect yourself. And we're going to use this guy as example A, because, by the way, has any Republican called on Bohachik to resign? Any of the 100+ Republicans in the General Assembly? Has anybody said, this is ridiculous, you do the right thing and get out of here? Nope. Has the governor?
They're
nope.
just disappointed.
Nope. Has Bobblehead? Nope. Has Rokita? Nope. Has Diego? Nope. Has Daniel Elliott? Nope. Has Elise Nichelle? Nope. None of them. This is just acceptable behavior to these people because it's status quo. Okay, so he being Bohachik, gets this heinous OWI. He is so lucky he didn't kill himself or somebody else, in which he's so drunk that the poor people at the Panda Express watch him behaving in a manner by which they're like, this guy cannot exit this facility and get back in an automobile. And he does. Somebody calls 911. The cops catch up to him. He's so drunk that he's trying to eat his food that he took with him and drink his drink while the officer's like, dude, you're pulled over, okay?
How else do you sober up?
He's trying to beat the system. He's like, great point. He's like, if I just delay this long enough, right? If I just filibuster here, I'll get enough food in my system that my 0.283 it will show up down to a 0.08. So, he's got food all over himself. He's not able to follow commands. He refuses the breathalyzer. This is the big part, which in the state of Indiana, if you refuse the breathalyzer, suspended driver's license.
Automatic license suspension.
Get out of here. But, and then they do the blood draw and it comes back as 0.283. But because he being Bohachik, is able to hide under this shield in which these guys can't be arrested during the session or charged during the session, not only does he escape the mugshot, does he escape the potential criminal penalties associated with it, the public shaming, all of which are the preventative measures that exist for public figures when they do stuff like this. But he also is allowed to keep his driver's license. For 5 months, he's been allowed to keep his driver's license. And now, and the reason we moved forward with the story was because the 15-day window by which these guys are protected had expired almost a month ago.
Yeah.
But because they can't get a judge, because the judges keep refusing to take the case, nothing can move forward with this guy. And now they've apparently got a judge in Porter County who's been asked to take the case. The judge
hasn't accepted it yet.
Right. So this could continue to go on if this judge won't take the case. He's out of LaPorte County. And he wants to be able to keep his driver's license. What they say, substantial hardship. He should be allowed to keep his license,
right?
Which you or I would have been out, no questions asked. But he should be able to keep his license because of a substantial hardship. What about the substantial hardship?
Yes,
he's placed on everyone else.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah.
How about that? When do we talk about the substantial hardship this guy is placed on his constituents, on the taxpayers of the state of Indiana? And you damn bet, Casey, we get to weigh in on this because he gets to vote even though he's not our representative or our senator, to tell us what to do. We get to have an opinion on this. We get to have a say in this because he gets to tell us how to spend our money, how much money we're allowed to keep, what to do with it, how to live our lives. We get to have an opinion.
Now, here's the interesting thing about this. No ruling has been made in the ignition interlock device yet, and the case currently lacks a judge because of the recusals, right? So in the meantime, continue to drive.
Yeah, and it's a lack of personal responsibility. So went downtown on Sunday night, watched the Pacer game. You know what I was cognizant of? Okay, when will this game be over? And I got to make sure that I am 100% in legal position to be able to operate an automobile. Also, when you're out and about now, it was great. People see us, multiple people. Hey, Rob, how's it going? You're walking, etc. That's as a radio guy. I'm trying to be aware of what's going on around me. Am I in a position where I'm safe for other people? It's a radio guy. He's a lawmaker, and it's not like it's not like he blew a .08.
Right.
He was 3.5 times the legal limit.
The legal limit, yeah.
Like it's just utterly ridiculous that no one in the State House will call on this guy to resign. No one will stand up and say, you are a joke. You clearly have a serious issue with alcohol. You have no business taking care of yourself, much less 7 million other people. Get out.
Yeah, he's been formally charged with 3 misdemeanors: operating a vehicle with a blood alcohol content of 0.15 or more, OWI, endangering a person, and also OWI. And the Senate president said that he was disappointed and that it doesn't meet the Senate standards. And he also said nobody is above the law.
Wait. You mean the Senate pro tem?
Tem.
Micah Beckwith is the bobblehead is the Senate president.
Pro tem. You're correct.
And again,
Rod Bray said all these things, but hasn't asked for him to step down.
No. Rod Bray tried to make it sound like he just found out about it in the article when the story broke, when clearly, as Jim Merritt told us, because he talked to Bohacek told everyone.
The caucus knew.
And again, how does Bobblehead not know? How does Bobblehead Beckwith, who's the president of the Senate, either he's lying to us, which I don't think he'd lie about this, but he is viewed as such a goof and a joke by the Senate that 40 senators withheld this information from him and his staff. I thought Micah had Oppo research people. I thought he had a research guy on his payroll in there. What's that guy doing all day? How much is that guy making? What's he researching? Clearly not who's blowing up or getting a blood draw of .283 in the caucus that Micah oversees, or the Senate that Micah oversees.
I think the big point of this is you got to remember the incident remained sealed and uncharged for months and only became public after those meddling kids.
I did my job. Was I doing my job?
Yeah, well, that's what you were told to do, right?
Hey, speaking of entitlement, one of these city county councilors has come out in defense of Hogsett. This is amazing audio.
Democrat?
Yeah, yes, it's a Democrat.
Let me guess.
We'll play it for you when we come back.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What are you going to lose? Call us 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
Hey, it's Matt Baer for Concrete Exteriors. Don't wait to beautify your home for summer for a fresh new look and increased home value. New siding by Concrete Exteriors is the answer. From James Hardy fiber cement siding to a big array of vinyl siding colors and styles, the experienced pros at Concrete have all the choices, plus a lifetime workmanship warranty and over 10,000 satisfied customers. For your free estimate, call Concrete Exteriors at 317-ROOFING or visit concreteexteriors.com. Tell them I sent you.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
High school sports ignite pride unlike anything else. Just listen to these student athletes from across the great state of Indiana.
Playing high school sports means representing my school and community, being a positive example, showing everyone what we stand for.
It's a reminder that the name on the front of my jersey is just as important as the name on the back.
Because it's about all of us, not just one of us.
And that includes our families, friends, and the fans.
When we all wear our school's name,
we are all on the same team.
We all represent our school.
We all belong to our community, thanks to high school sports.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. You can be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is building community pride. This is bringing everyone together as one team. This is your IHSAA.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Forcing her to leave. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. A woman is removed from Monday's City-County Council meeting after trying to speak up about her claims of sexual harassment by a former top aide of Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett.
He's choosing to fight against survivors, whistleblowers, his own workers, and those who support us.
That's Lauren Roberts, who believes the mayor should be asked to resign. A 43-year-old Greenfield man is getting a 14-year sentence for sexual misconduct with a 15-year-old girl. The Keystone Group is announcing a purchase of more than 1 million square feet of vacant office space for $250 million on Monument Circle. And Gamebridge Fieldhouse will be a jam-packed place Wednesday night when the Indiana Pacers host the Oklahoma City Thunder for Game 3 of the NBA Finals. IMPD Chief Chris Bailey on ensuring safety for those at the Fieldhouse and beyond.
We've adjusted our staffing to increase our footprint, both in patrol cars, on foot.
Bailey says drivers should be prepared for heavy traffic. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
So we got to play this audio from a couple of these Indianapolis City County councilors because they're gross. Bob Osley, who's the big boss, and then this guy, Ron Gibson.
Okay.
They are Team Hogsett. And the first guy you'll hear is Ron Gibson, and then Bob Osley after that. And this audio emanated, I want to make sure we give credit for this, Max Lewis at Max Lewis TV on Twitter if you want to see it for yourself. These guys are all nothing to see here. Hogsett acted fine. Listen to this stuff.
I just wanted to reaffirm my support for Mayor Joe Hogsett and confidence in his leadership to run the city of Indianapolis. He did not do anything wrong here, nor did he violate any policy here.
So is the message there's nothing to see here?
You know what? I think you can dig as further you want to dig, and I think maybe you can tell me if there's something to see here. But to my knowledge and what I've been engaged in and briefed on and seen, there's nothing here.
Do you think there's nothing to see here, or there is something to see here?
At this moment in time, I don't know that there is something to see. But as our statement did say, we are open if something does come forward, right?
I just wanted to...
Sirs, what other evidence do you need? Do you believe Lauren Roberts and those women are lying? Yes or no? It's a very simple question. If you believe they're lying, that's fine. We can have that conversation. If you believe they've doctored evidence or the evidence they presented to you is in some way not accurate, great. Willing to have that conversation. But not one person has stood up yet and said, those women are wrong, those women are lying, those women have doctored evidence.
Well, in regards to Lauren Roberts, last night was the first opportunity she had to even speak.
Yeah, and again, it comes back to let her speak.
Right.
And so these people are so control-driven. And I say this as someone who was once escorted from a meeting for simply asking, how does an item get on the agenda? Mm-hmm. They're so power-driven that they think, well, we're the boss, which you are the boss. And you can do what you want, which they did. They escorted her out of that meeting and forced those deputies. But what was the PR ramification?
Right. They would have been better off, even if she went 5-10 minutes. Let her say it. Let her feel heard, and then you can move on. They made it worse.
She's a central witness. Even if you don't believe her story 100%, or you say, hey, this woman's had some trauma, I'm not sure she's processing it, whatever, however you want to get to that. Even if you don't believe her story, she is a central witness to this report, which you're talking about funding.
Yeah.
Why would just let her go? So she went for an extra 2 minutes. So what? You're not going to talk to her.
That 2 minutes is going to save you tons of time and the headache you're dealing with now.
Used to do this all the time. Like, I had so much leeway in the entire time I was an elected person. Only one person ever got thrown out of a meeting. And boy, the stuff they used to say about me, like, it makes this look like public broadcasting, right? And the only guy we ever threw out was because he kept standing up in the back and shouting and disrupting other people it was their time to talk at the podium. And we told him multiple warnings, like, one more and you're out of here. And then he stood up and he knew he was going to get kicked out. And it wasn't even because he was mad at us. It was, you can't disrupt people trying to speak. Just, you work for them. If it's somewhere around the time constraint, give them leeway. She's obviously a central figure in this thing that is a central issue to the city. Let her go. It's out of her system. Even if you don't believe her, then what's she going to say? Yeah. I got to go say my piece. They're still going to hate you regardless.
Now, instead, the story is that she was exited out of the meeting. Forcibly.
As were the people there with her. But these guys are doubling down on, it's like, no person sees the evidence of what has transpired, and whether Hogsett acted in a legal fashion or not, says ethically, morally, this guy is some guy that you would want to stand behind. You couldn't possibly look at this. He clearly knew what Thomas Carl Cook was on multiple occasions. These women did not all come forward to Hogsett at the same time. It was over many years, which is why Hogsett finally flushed him out. And then they hooked him up with a sweetheart job at a local law firm.
Right, which is a pattern of behavior, which is also why the GOP caucus is asking to review all the city contracts with him.
But the GOP has already blown it. And I like Josh Bane a lot, but you're too far down it. They should have been this ferocious from the beginning. You know, Josh Bane gave that answer about we're not cancel culture people. You knew the facts. You knew the evidence. Everybody knows Joe Hogsett has a serious issue with drinking. Everybody knows that on more than one occasion has impeded his ability to do his job. Lauren Roberts identifies that in her Substack post about his drinking. Everybody believes Joe Hogsett went missing during the riots because of some issue related to substance abuse. He has never ever said where he was during the riots.
Wait, I was just told by those people in the audio we just played that they have confidence in his leadership.
Well, right. This is the point. We won't even step up and go, this dude blew it. And it's time. Why is that so hard to say? This guy blew it. He's blown it numerous times. He clearly has issues. He clearly is incapable of even managing himself. Look at these text messages he was sending to these subordinates. Totally inappropriate for someone his age and in his position. It wouldn't have mattered if Joe Hogsett was 35 and looked like Brad Pitt. You shouldn't be texting that to a subordinate who's accountable to who you are, the boss of. You're the leader of a city. It's like a 15-year-old sending those messages. And even when presented with all that, these guys still go, no, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
No wonder our city's in the position it's in.
They won't call for his resignation.
No, they won't.
Why won't they go on the record?
Because it's the same thing we're talking about in many other areas. Follow the money. Follow the power. Those people still believe that Joe Hogsett has enough money and power. Well, look, he just did that fundraiser. Remember we were talking about that and raised all that money. He still has enough money and enough power and enough people behind him that they fear the repercussion of crossing him. So they're willing to not stand up to Hogsett and not stand up for the taxpayers because they're more afraid about losing the position of power.
Right.
You know, the one guy that's not afraid over there is Jesse Brown. Say what you want about his policies, the socialist. He's totally nuts on a bunch of his worldviews. But he's the one guy who's not afraid and doesn't need that position, and you got to respect that.
Sly Stone, he passed away at the age of 82.
Somebody posted that the other day, and I thought it said Sly Stallone. And I was like, oh my gosh, Sylvester Stallone died.
No.
Not to in any way diminish his passing. But
Sly and the Family Stone frontman. Let's listen. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hey, this is Rob.
And this is Casey.
Republicans are apparently looking for a reset on the big bullcrap bill. Here's an idea. Just throw it in the trash.
Join us Tuesday, 9 until noon on 93 WIBC.
Have you ever checked your Social Security statement to see how much money you'll get in retirement? Guess what? This number could be a lot less or a lot more than the number on your statement. It's Hammer and Nigel, and you could discover how you could get every penny that's rightfully yours with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy. We trust Bill, and you can too.
So if you have saved more than $200,000 but have not yet filed for Social Security, schedule that free analysis right now by calling Bill Demery. 317-648-5120. This free analysis takes the guesswork out of filing for your benefits, and most importantly, it could help you get every penny that's rightfully yours. Free analysis. Bill Demery, 317-648-5120. That's 317-648-5120.
Masters Heating and Cooling is ready to make sure you are cool and comfortable all summer long. They took great care of my system, and they can help you make sure that everything is ready to go to ensure a nice, comfortable summer and then a very comfortable winter. I've worked with their general manager, David, numerous times, and it has always been a pleasure. And right now, you can get $500 off a new AC system. And if you've worked with Masters before and you've spent more than $500 on AC repairs in the last year, you can apply that amount as a credit towards a new system as well. Masters Heating and Cooling makes it easy. They've got flexible financing options and 24/7 service. So no matter what your issue, Masters Heating and Cooling is right there to take care of you and your family. Give Masters Heating and Cooling a call. 317-567-9505. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-567-9505. Or request service online at mastersindy.com. mastersindy.com.
If you have a snoring problem or sleep apnea, odds are you have blockage in both your throat and your nose. Now, for those who've gone elsewhere and wonder why their issues aren't getting better, this is where the problem lies. Because the true root of your problem very well may be your nose. We believe we'll find that your nose isn't working the way it should. And once we do get your nose working, your CPAP mask can finally work, or you can lose that CPAP mask altogether. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula with Advent, where we offer every effective snoring and sleep apnea solution available, including simple in-office procedures that can get your nose and your throat working properly. It's a simple concept. If you're going to get your best sleep, you have to be able to breathe well. Go to adventknows.com to schedule an appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could it be lower testosterone?
Lower T.
Happens to most guys after 40. I was in the same boat until I started using Nugenix Total T2.
Total T2, the new one I've seen on TV.
Yep, it's the next generation testosterone booster for both free and total testosterone. It's packed with even more man-boosting power, sending nitric oxide levels skyrocketing in just 3 hours.
It actually works?
I feel like I'm in my 20s again. again. I've got more energy, better results in the gym, and things are even better in the bedroom. Send them a text and get a complimentary bottle.
Text now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the #1 testosterone brand at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, absolutely free. Text TEAR to 369369. That's TEAR to 369369. TEAR to 369369.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Think of it as WIBC on 2x speed. Big opinions, great moments, and just enough chaos. The WIBC Mashup Podcast brings it all together in one fast, fun listen. New episode each weekday. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
I've done my best to live the right way. I get up every morning and go to work each day. But your eyes go blind.
You know, Casey, I've always said one of the things I've got going for me is, well, I've been basically poor my entire life.
Poor?
Well, middle class.
Middle class.
I mean,
lower middle class?
Well, I don't know. I mean, like
bottom tier class.
Well, it's all in the eye of the beholder, right? Like, I always had a house. I always had food. I always had clothes.
Right.
I mean, that's sort of like middle America, right?
Yeah.
You never
Roof
wanted.
over your head.
My family was not taking luxurious vacations. In fact, I can think of very few actual vacations that we ever took.
You don't have a super yacht parked out front?
But I also don't have an $87,000 Tahoe. But yeah, I never wanted for anything, but there was also never any extravagance in my house. And I also remember my parents being very cognizant of what things cost and how things were going to work. That's middle class, right?
Yeah.
That's like middle class.
That's middle class. If you're not struggling every week to just buy groceries or pay the rent, you're doing okay.
Now, the high rise you live in, at some point you obtain great wealth.
I don't know if it's great wealth. Like you, I have a roof over my head. So.
I mean, that house goes straight up into the air.
Is that like the bare minimum now? You got a roof over your head, so be happy.
Well, anymore. And I don't know if we had this conversation last week or the week you were gone, but we were talking about how my wife and I both work. We both make decent money, and yet that money with two people working provides about the same life. When I was growing up, that I had one person working.
Yeah, correct. Because every taxes go up, the price of everything goes up, so you need more people working to come up with the same amount of money.
Yeah, and especially if you want to have any semblance of savings or any semblance of I'm planning for a retirement. I mean, I think my generation will probably be working well into their 70s, most people, in some capacity. I don't know whether it'll be full-time jobs, but I think you will see people from my generation 30 years from now will still be working in some capacity just because affording living and the way retirements are structured or not structured now and how little people is saving or able to save. I just think you're going to see, which then pushes younger people out of the workforce.
Well, it's a good thing, I guess, that medical advancements happen to keep people
so I can stay
healthier longer so they can work longer.
So I can stay alive to enjoy my poorness?
Yes,
yeah. Because...
That's it, exactly. Well, you're trusted then if you're poor, if you grew up poor.
Really?
There's a study that came out that said people are trusted more if they grew up poor, but not if they currently are. So if you grew up poor, you're trusted. If you're currently poor, not so much.
Okay, I would buy that. So what they're saying is if you grew up without money, you're trusted. If you currently have no money now, you're not trusted.
Yeah, if you're currently struggling financially, you're not as trusted.
That would make sense to me because people love the idea of someone coming from humble roots. They love the idea of some person who understands what it was like not to have a lot. It gives them some level of empathy towards others, the understanding they've made something of themselves. They understand earning it on your own. They understand the value of hard work. All of those things.
To get yourself out of that position.
However, if you as an adult have not achieved some level of financial independence, people look at you and say, what mistakes have you made?
Right. If you can't figure it out, I'm not going to trust you.
Right. And again, I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago where we got into the issue with, I think it was last week, because we were talking about these lawmakers and their ability to skedoodle out of responsibility for these OWIs, et cetera. And I said the coveting of stuff is what is causing this in our country. The coveting of power, the coveting of fame, the coveting of money and possessions. And so many of these lawmakers, both here at a state level, to some extent a local level, certainly at a federal level, have found that these public offices are the path to those things. And those things mean far more to them than actually going to the mat for the voter, for the people that they were elected to serve.
Oh, you're saying they're in it for themselves?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And the problem is, I think so many people go in well-meaning, not understanding how overwhelming the pressure is or how overwhelming the opportunities, for lack of a better term, offered to you are once you get in there, and they just simply don't have the
willpower
to resist
conviction.
temptation. Right, you're right. Absolutely. It's like that letter we read earlier from that very nice person who sent us a certified letter, which was great. And it melted my heart that they were willing to spend 10, basically.
You were just happy it wasn't a lawsuit.
Yeah, we talked about that. We were laughing. Anytime I get a certified letter, it's, okay, who did I offend this time?
Let's go through the list.
What attorney?
What did I say?
But the point is, that person was saying how much we mean to them because we fight every day for them. We can't. I mean, literally, that's where we're at now.
Do we have to set up our own GoFundMe account?
The radio people mean so much to the listeners because we're basically the last bastion of people left that are bullcrapping them because so many people have told them, well, I'm going to go in there. I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to this. I'm going to that.
And then they don't.
And then they don't.
Right.
And no strings on us, right? And that, I think a big part of that with myself and with you is because we don't covet anything. We don't covet money. We don't covet, we earn enough here that it's fine. It's the existence we desire to live. You've made several wonderful investments, so money means nothing to you anymore.
Right, absolutely nothing. I just wipe my tears with $100 bills, Rob.
But until the politicians feel that way, which they're not going to because it's so overwhelming what you're tipped with.
Think about this. The governor of our state, who's worth, what, $130 million?
Yes, it's at least.
Inherited a business from his dad, right? He's passing it on to his children. Decided when he became governor, he's not going to live in the mansion in Indianapolis. In fact, he's going to stay at his home in Jasper and make the taxpayers pay for a heliport for him.
Yes, and then the chief of staff for Braun got mad at me. This was during the session. I don't know if I told this story on air or not. That Braun's chief of staff got mad at me because we were reporting the cost of the helipad, and he was angry.
Oh, you got the number wrong by it.
Well, he was angry because the helipad portion was like a fraction of the total cost. He wasn't disputing we got the cost right, which was $119,000 or whatever the number was. He wasn't disputing that, but only a portion of that was for the actual helipad. The rest of it was things like for fencing and staging. And it was like, what the hell difference does it make? I got the number right.
Right.
Who cares? You're spending money which you'd spend zero.
You know what? Send us an itemized list and we'll make sure. We'll guarantee we get it right.
Zero if he chose to live full time in the governor's mansion.
Yeah,
that is already being provided for him.
Right. Mansion.
By the way, did you ever hear back
Jumbo
from Braun's
home.
office?
No. Did
No?
I hear back
Nothing?
from his office?
Anti-woman brawn.
You're silly.
Won't even return the email.
You and your drugs.
Okay,
You're
well,
funny.
let's on that uplifting note, let's say goodbye for the day.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Nathaniel, and thank you for listening today. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Real stories with Hellsberg.
After we met and we started dating, Nancy and I lived 150 miles apart, and I would drive my old jalopy car, and it was roughly a 3-hour distance. It took 3 years I drove across that state back and forth dating her every weekend.
Persistence.
And I would have never stopped. I had a lot of energy back then, 36 years ago.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Hey folks, Scott Wilson here from Wilson Farm Market, just 20 minutes north of Carmel. We're proud to bring you the freshest produce farmed right here in Indiana and across the Midwest. And don't miss our home-style fried chicken, scratch-made bakery, and a deli packed with ready-to-go favorites. Got a sweet tooth? Check out our variety of old-fashioned candies, the kind that brings back sweet memories from your childhood. At Wilson Farm Market, we're all about local freshness, friendly faces, and food that feels like home. Wilson Farm Market. That's Wilson Farm Market.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell and Cordell. Cordell and Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell and Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
It's Kubota Orange Days. From America's #1 selling compact tractor to zero-turn mowers and versatile RTVs, get your perfect match delivered to your door. Now through June 30th, get 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or up to $3,000 off select compact tractors. See the details at KubotaOrangeDays.com.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Indianapolis to see the full line of Kubota or visit McAllisterKubota.com.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live online or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up. The fans were very cordial and polite.
Users like Joe Hogg said.
You are now done. The investigative committee could have subpoenaed Thomas Cook.
That is the former Anthem building.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
A packed city and an excited city. Mostly sunny and 73 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm John Herrick. Here's what's trending at 12 noon. Lots of people will be in downtown Indianapolis for Game 3 of the NBA Finals between the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder tomorrow night. Ryan Hedrick reports on what law enforcement officers are saying about safety.
Indy Metro Police Chief Chris Bailey says he was watching the Eastern Conference Finals when the Pacers sent the Knicks home and heard reports about Knicks fans and Pacers fans squaring off in the streets, but he doesn't expect that kind of smoke from Oklahoma City fans.
After we beat them in Oklahoma City in Game 1, the fans were very cordial and polite, and that's what we expect from Indianapolis fans.
Indiana State Police were also at a press conference on Tuesday explaining their role and how to keep you safe. Captain Ron Galaviz says it's more centered on traffic.
I think for right now, the majority of what you'll see us a little bit more on the periphery this week, unless we're absolutely needed down in the downtown area.
And the Indiana Pacers also announced a watch party outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, adding to the fun of having the NBA Finals back here for the first time in 25 years. Reporting outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse, Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A former campaign staffer for Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogshead's former deputy chief of staff, Thomas Cook, was booted from a meeting on Monday night after she refused to stop speaking to the council.
Ms. Roberts, Joe Hogshead.
You are now done.
Meanwhile, the Republican
Roberts,
I am
you
not
are done. Yes, you
Meanwhile,
are.
the Republican members of this council continue to use survivors and our stories as a political football.
Lauren Roberts and other women have accused Cook of sexual harassment, but a Chicago law firm found no legal wrongdoing by Hogshead. Now, one of the Republicans on the Indianapolis City County Council, Josh Bane, says the more he finds out about the way Cook was investigated, the worse things appear.
The council, the investigative committee, could have subpoenaed Thomas Cook, and they didn't. We need to know why they didn't.
In an interview with WIBC's Kendall and Casey this morning, Bane says he wants to see all of the evidence that was submitted to that law firm, Fisher Phillips. The Keystone Group has bought the building located at 120 Monument Circle.
That is the former Anthem building on the Circle's northwest quadrant. Keystone already owns several properties downtown, including the Intercontinental Hotel on Illinois Street west of the Circle and the Majestic Building on South Meridian. A statement from the developer says the building will likely be redeveloped into retail, restaurant, and parking spaces.
That's Jeremy Jenkins reporting from our news gathering partners at Wish TV. Another project starts next week, which means some possible delays on roads in Indianapolis. Johnette Cruz with that story.
Work on the Indigo Blue Line is officially getting underway, which means more construction, more closures, and more patience. The first phase begins next week with the installation of new storm sewer lines along Washington Street. To get it done, westbound Washington Street will close for 6 months between White River Parkway and Belmont Avenue. Eastbound lanes, however, will stay open. While drivers and Route 8 bus riders will face detours, the work marks the first significant milestone for the rapid transit line that will connect the airport to Cumberland in 2028. Johnette Cruz, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Lawsuits, an arrest, and a rescue. Those stories and more next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the rioting in Los Angeles continues, and so does the gaslighting from the Democratic Party. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Well, Tony, California Attorney General Rob Bonta says President Trump's decision to send National Guard troops and Marines to Los Angeles is the wrong move.
The Trump administration is involved in an unlawful power grab that is dangerous and reckless, that threatens to inflame and provoke.
Governor Gavin Newsom also objects to that and is suing the Trump administration over it. As Fox's Lillian Wu reports, that's not the only lawsuit the president's dealing with.
15 states and D.C. are suing the Trump administration to try and block the return of seized gun conversion devices known as forced reset triggers, which can be used to turn semi-automatic rifles into weapons that can shoot as quickly as machine guns. This coming after the Trump administration, as part of a settlement, agreed to return some 12,000 confiscated devices to their original owners. The suit, filed by Democrat-led states, accuses the Trump administration of hiding violations of federal law prohibiting the possession of machine guns in that settlement. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
A decade in prison for a man who engaged in sexual acts with a young girl. Jarrett Lewis reports.
A Hancock County court is deciding to give 43-year-old William Rather of Greenfield 10 years in prison plus 4 years of house arrest for sexual misconduct with a 15-year-old girl. Greenfield police began their investigation into Rather back in December after receiving a tip. It said Rather was soliciting and having sex with the underage child. After conducting a search warrant on his home soon after receiving the tip, Rather admitted to officers of the acts and to having drugs and alcohol in the home with other young kids also present. Prosecutors saw a full 15-year prison sentence. Jarrett Lewis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And a well-trained 911 dispatcher can help save a life, and that may be just what happened Monday morning. Chris Davis reports.
Your door, is it coming in your door?
Yeah, it's on the door. It's on the floor right now, but it's rising pretty high.
A car spun out and went 20 feet into Pleasant Run Creek near English Avenue on the southeast side of Indianapolis Monday morning just after 8. You're hearing the 911 dispatcher helping the woman figure out how to get safe before firefighters could get there.
You need to get out of that car. I need you to be able to get access, and I'm concerned if the water's going up really fast.
Once Indy firefighters were able to get her on the roof, getting her off the car and to safety was much easier. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And I'm John Herrick, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Very rarely do you get to see a misinformation operation right in front of your face. Very rarely do you recognize when it is pointed directly at you. But here it is. The kids call it gaslighting. Psychological manipulation technique in which a person tries to convince someone that their reality is untrue. The reality is there is violence in Los Angeles. Officers have been attacked. Law enforcement has been attacked. Vehicles have been destroyed. Vehicles have been set on fire. There has been looting of local stores. There's been looting of the Apple Store. Men and women in masks have taken chunks of concrete and thrown them at police vehicles, passing them as they stood on a bridge. The vehicles going below. Reporters have been threatened. This is everything that has happened. There is no question that this is happening. Yet what the political left wants to tell you at every single level is that everything is fine. Everything is good. Everything can be summed up by Officer Barbrady when he states,
"Okay, people, move along. There's nothing to see here."
There is not a person on the left, save for John Fetterman, who isn't lying about what's happening. And they think that's the way to get young men to vote for them.